Deshaun Watson, it wasn't overwhelmingly impressive. I know he'd been out under. He seemed sort of indifferent to the pressure that was being cast upon him by constantly being under the George Santos now microscope, where every day somebody's following him with a microphone going, "What the fuck did you do now?" Can't believe he stiffed that Amish guy. Not even on butter, on puppies. No?
Yeah, it was like
he didn't even buy one of those heaters, the cockamamie heaters. Remember what happened to those? They don't make them anymore? The Amish? Remember when they were advertising that? Like every other ad was, for one of those heaters that they made. We do everything right here on the premises. Yeah, great. Okay, right? Meanwhile, you see some truck pulls up with Japanese lettering on it. Right next to the buckboard. All right.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Yes, we've made it. We've done it. We've done it again. We've made it to another Degenerate Friday. Good to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, one Mike, and Lubie Lubitz. And Lubie loves Degenerate Fridays because it means that there is nothing going on Saturday. That's great. Since we've incorporated the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge into our Thursday show, although we missed it this week due to the fact that Dave Gurgles Gurgley had scheduling problems, I didn't even know what to do with myself the first couple of Saturdays, Libby. I actually just got in a car and drove to like Hialeah or JM Lexus or any of the various locations over the years. Toyota of Hollywood. Let's see, we were at Bruce Rossmeyer's for a while. The Harley Davidson dealership. That was a trip. That was an adventure. There was a guy there that was like the second in command of Rossmeyer, who, he really looked the part of one of those outlaw bikers. And he wasn't a big fan of ours for some reason. I don't know. I think he thought we were taking up space in the showroom there that otherwise could have been put to better use by putting like maybe one motorcycle there instead of the table that we used to do the trivia show. I don't think he quite understood what we were doing. And the magnitude, the reach, the power of that Saturday show that we did for over 25 years on the radio. But having Saturdays off is kind of cool. And then you're telling me, Lubie, that Monday morning you have some kind of thing working? What's going on? Legal pressure? What's happening?
I arrived back from Atlanta.
You're taking a trip. When are you leaving?
Today.
Oh, yeah? What time?
I'm leaving tonight. We can't mess with our Gulfstream Park Fridays, so I wanted to make sure we get a Degenerate Friday, a Gulfstream Park Friday.
Yeah.
Head off to the ATL, and then I'll be back Monday morning, and we'll do a lunchbox Monday afternoon.
Okay, and the lunchbox yesterday sparked, it kind of, re-triggered the age-old debate that we've had on this show. What's more overrated, the stone crab or Bryce Harper? Now, I'm going to say maybe that neither is overrated. I don't know. Both may be overpriced. Although for an MVP in Major League Baseball, if you're paying like $35 million a year now, that's almost a bargain, is it not?
Going rate.
Yeah, some scrub second baseman that hits 226. Eddie Brinkman, the shortstop. Remember, he used to hit like 190. That guy would commanded $20 million in salary now. The stone crab versus Bryce Harper. Now, the stone crabs that we had yesterday at the Delaware Chicken Farm and the seafood market, they were great. I mean, they brought back all of the good vibe that you had about eating stone crabs. No, I did get a little piece of shell in the one that I cracked myself. All right,
obviously,
but that was my own doing. Mayo sucked them down. I mean, like he was eating crawfish, man. It was unbelievable. He knew exactly what to do. And that whole, it was funny because I showed Mustang a picture of the platter that they'd brought out there, and it was brilliant. And then I told her I was only able to save her one stone crab, which she said that one stone crab is like a tease. It's like a cock tease. Like you have to have at least two. But then I was thinking, was the man's name Gene, the guy that was cracking the stone crabs for us?
Gene's great. Yeah,
Gene. He was terrific. Very, very good guy. And Doug, the owner of the place, was great. And he's been a longtime sports fan and sports sponsor. So it was a pleasure to be out there. And they also, offset with some really fresh and tasty, delicious shrimp.
Yeah,
with that cocktail sauce. I mean, when you mix those two things in together, it seems like you get more mileage out of the stone crabs. Correct, Lubie?
Yep.
What do you think? And then you can, mix it up a little bit and throw the shrimp into that mustard sauce that they make for the stone crabs. And then it's almost like you're just extending, almost like you got like artificial crab meat or something, right? Because it seems the same. essentially. It's a different taste, a different texture, but it kind of extends that whole thing, that whole stone crab experience out. I'm going to say, the problem is I don't know that I would pay $10 a claw for stone crabs. And those were good prices. I mean, that they had on these things at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. I mean, they have great prices there and a tremendous selection and the freshest of stuff. Couldn't be happier than to have them on board on the Mike Mayo lunchbox, which, I mean, Mayo wields a very, very heavy gavel, does he not? People are like, wait a minute, I'm not a sponsor on this show? I got to dive on.
What do you mean? They were
They
great.
call Mayo now. I mean, it's unbelievable.
We've had sponsors who are happy. We've had sponsors who stick
Yeah.
around. I've never really known a sponsor to be grateful for us. Like, be like, oh my God, thank you for the privilege of paying you.
That's a rarity, man.
I was like,
Usually it's like, why are we continuing to pay you when we haven't had a single customer come through here in 2 years that's mentioned your name? No, it's not quite like that. I'm always amazed. I mean, sometimes the response, not everything works, in this advertising game. I mean, we've had people that have had, a limited response, and then we've had others that kind of overwhelm me where, a guy will call you up and say, hey, we sold 3 cars today. They all said they came in because of the show. So, and that's the good thing. But Mayo, I've never seen power like that. Well, he's got that 100,000 now hovering on the Facebook page, Let's Eat South Florida. And they're all like the kind of people that really get involved in this stuff. So he did try to crack one on his head. I give him credit. That's not what I meant, though, Lubie. Did you understand that? I was hoping that Gene would just take the hammer, put the little metal thing that he had on Mayo's head and crack it on his head while he sat still. I mean, you see this kind of stuff all the time, right? It's kind of like the slam dunk contest where the guy jumps over 2 guys. It would have been the same sort of principle, but Mayo instead just took the thing and stuck it on his forehead. But it didn't work. I think he got hurt when he did that. Those shells are hard and they got a little spiky thing to them. But I don't know. Does the price make it prohibitive, Lubie? I mean, would you we were eating the large stone crabs there, which are only the second one up. There are no small. Small, I guess you got the Fish and Game warden coming after you. Wait a minute. If you're selling small stone crabs here, that's, against every principle that we stand for at the Wildlife Association. So larger, the second one up, that they're very, plentiful in terms of the amount of stone crab meat that was on the claw. Would you pay $10 a pop for those things? That's kind of like getting it almost wholesale there at Delaware Seafood Market, the Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. $10 a shot? Would you say it's worth it? I mean, once in a blue moon, maybe. What do you think?
I mean, and that's the thing that's cool about going there. You can
2 colossals though were like $70. 2 colossals, $70.
Yeah, but again,
that's $35 a shot for something that's only slightly larger than what we would have been paying 10 for.
See, I don't know. I've never. When it comes to lobster and stuff like that, to think of it as a meal, and I get it, people do it. When Tropical Acres does their deal, 2 lobsters for $35, that's a meal. But to me, I'm not Mr. Lobster Crab guy, so I'd rather have a little bit of everything. So to me, having a couple crab claws and then some of the dip, some of the shrimp, maybe some poultry, like that's perfect for me. So then the price isn't, going to hit you over the head. It's when you want to have 12 crab. Well, if you want to have 12 stone crabs, that's you. I like that's
dozen stone crabs, at 4 per pound. It would have been $120, something like that. 130, 135. That's a lot. I don't know, Libby. I'm going to give the edge to Harper in this one and say that the stone crab is still more overrated now. And we never thought that. We always thought that Harper was more overrated than the stone crab. So that debate, really, I mean, the scales of justice, a little hard to balance there. You know how you take a little weed off and then the thing goes up and then you realize the guy's going to complain about the short count. So you put another little bun on there, but now it goes down. How is it, too, at the people at the Publix deli always go over? Whenever, I mean, do they not? After you do a job for a while, you kind of know. Like we have a sense of time, even though we abuse it, on this show. But we don't really have to stick to any specific format if we don't want to, which is fine. That suits our style. But I mean, if I knew I had a minute, I could probably figure out what a minute was in my head without really having to look at a clock or anything. I have a pretty good sense of what 60 seconds would be in any kind of announcing.
Yep.
And rarely would you be off by much. But you would think, and that's because we've done it like a zillion times, right? You got 1 minute, and you kind of know how to fill that 1 minute. And, you have a clock in your head, and you know what the hell's going on. Would you not figure that the person at the deli counter that's been there for like 70 years, right? Oh, Mabel, yeah, no, cut it a little thicker, will you? Because I don't know what it is. Is there an obsession with cutting cold cuts so thin that they all stick together the minute you put it in the fridge?
And people want
So you now have to eat it in one big block. I can't even peel off a piece for the dog. Why do they do that? Why don't you even have a setting on the slicer like that?
my parents love it ridiculously thin, and I'm like, yeah, but you still need to take the same amount of meat.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass.
Cut it so you can peel them off the stack there. Give me a break. All right. Anyway, we'll have more food talk later on 12 o'clock. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox from Gulfstream Park. And this brings about one of my favorite sporting doubleheaders today, which is racetrack to live boxing. Racetrack to live boxing. And it's actually racetrack to racetrack.
I was going to say,
we're going to be at Gulfstream at noon. Now, I have to figure out, I don't know, logistically, it's a little bit complicated for me.
So if you'd done it without the stang, like you would never heard the end of it, right? Like if you had tried,
she's not going, believe it or not, voluntarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I told her what my predicament was, and she said, "You know what? Don't worry about it because I'm kind of tired anyway." She's been working a little bit of late, last couple of nights. Yeah, making some money, and that's good.
Nice.
All right, get back out there, sweetheart. It ain't going to be the joyride that it once was. I mean, in the back of your head, you're thinking if she had just done this the whole time that we were, together, we would have stacked away. I mean, just gobs. We would have had shoe boxes full of cash. It would have been nice.
Well,
So maybe we're on a little bit of a new path here, and it does look like a couple of our things are taking off. Our little deal with Greenlight Ventures. Wow, I mean, there's some excitement in the wings there. I don't want to get too carried away because
I'm ready for
as of yet, I haven't really seen any of it, tangibly materialize. Although in theory, it looks great. But stocks up to 64 cents there, which
that's
is
nice. I mean, honestly,
for those kind of penny stocks, they usually hover around like a dime and then stay there forever.
It started at like 10, 20 cents. I still don't really know what they do. And if you're almost at $1, it's actually pretty solid.
Well, there was an announcement yesterday. I didn't get the press release. My buddy said that he was going to send it to me, but and that I was actually the contact person on the press release. So I haven't been contacted by anybody, but they did close a deal with a company that has an NFL merchandising license. All right, so they're the official. They make custom watches. And they customize watches with teams, players, whatever. And they have, already a pretty good track record. And they have a licensing deal with the NFL. So they're the official custom watchmaker of the National Football League. So they signed on, came on board, and then through the roof, my friend. Stock in a market that was like in total decline, all of a sudden skyrocketed out the door there. And that was even before the announcement, which I don't know. It may come out today. So we'll see what happens. Theoretically, we're rich, Lubie.
There you go.
I don't know if I can pay my property tax on March 1st, but theoretically, we're rich. So that's great. It's always good, at least, to be rich in theory. I mean, maybe in the back of your mind, you feel like you're not as impoverished as your bank account says. But and you're in on it, Lubie, which is good. Podcasting deals to come. I mean, very, very optimistic. And sometimes, even if it's false hope, you need to be fueled with some kind of optimism. And that's why we live in Miami, because it's a city of false hope.
Exactly.
I'm surprised they haven't actually named, some town like the city of false hope. And that would be perfect. Like Lauderdale by the Sea just changes and becomes a city of false hope. All right. Speaking of which, we have like a degenerate a lineup here for you today. The Greek's going to join us. He's zeroing in on a little college basketball, and always fun to talk to anyway because he's a man about town, a bon vivant, so to speak. We also have the professor with the big board. He continues to just hammer away with beautiful renditions of the big board. And the professor, I don't know how he did on his XFL games. I don't know if you charted that, Lubie. I'm looking at it here, and look what I got. Although it did come a little bit late, but nonetheless, I didn't have to call today from my New York Post.
Oh, look at you.
They're sort of getting the message that, like, hey, this asshole's going to call every time, so we may as well just bring him the paper in the first place. And I'm looking at XFL odds for Saturday, week number 2. What kind of judgment could you formulate? The professor's very good at this. I mean, he could take fledgling and weenie leagues and
Yes,
dissect them like nobody else that we've ever seen. He's kind of the
100%.
Mark Lawrence of this sort of genre, like
Yeah,
USFL, XFL, Australian rules football, Korean baseball. He was capitalizing
yeah,
on when the
Aussie
pandemic came out.
rules, Aussie rules
I
football.
mentioned Aussie rules. Yeah, I mean, I mean, what do we make of this? Would you know anything about this? I mean, these would be absolutely groundless bets in terms of any kind of basis in reality here and knowledge. Vipers, Defenders. I don't even know what cities those two teams play in. Do you?
Not even a little.
Where are the Guardians from? There's another team called
Oh,
the Guardians
Jesus.
besides the Cleveland Guardians, the baseball team.
Oh, God.
Is that Washington? I don't know. Who are the Guardians?
Oh, Jesus. I don't even
The
have it.
Brahmas, you got the Roughnecks, you have the Renegades. Are those the only teams in the league? They only have 6 teams? Is
Yeah, I
that the
think that's
deal?
six. I think there's like
A
six.
6-team league?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what do you
What
want?
is The Rock doing there? Is he a team owner? The Rock was all over like
Rock owns XFL.
he owns the XFL?
XFL was fledgling, and he went and bought it. Now, I don't know if he has a board or other owners. I mean, one dude owning an entire league is a lot, but he bought it for like 15 million or some stupid number,
Yeah.
and got like I think instantly a deal with like ESPN.
Is that right?
So I'm sure it's worth a lot more.
Imagine that.
And he has, I'm sure, a foundation with investors where it probably won't go belly up. I don't think.
You know what? I mean, very suspect, right? McMahon couldn't make it work. McMahon!
Oh.
But, I mean, they kind of overpromised and underdelivered, did they not? When it gets down to it, you really don't want to watch like sort of I mean, when you see the NFL, you realize even though a lot of people think that there are teams out there that suck, or the NBA, I mean, they've watered it down with a lot of teams, and there's some very bad teams in the NBA that aren't entertaining to watch at all, including what Greg Popovich is coaching one of them, the San Antonio Spurs, are horrible this year. Horrible, not bad enough to get this Zembawaba Naba or whatever the guy's name is,
Just say Wemby.
Wendy, but
Wemby, not Wendy.
Wemby. Okay, yeah, Wemby.
Wemby. There you go, sir.
I can't stand it that the Rockets are going to end up with the worst record in the league. I don't know. I used to actually like sort of have like a half, not a rooting interest, but I kind of like the Houston Rockets when they had Harden.
They're
And,
fun.
we're making some noise and we're entertaining to watch. Who's the guy with the teeth that always has the high Mike D'Antoni.
Coach. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of got a little Paul Westhead in him.
Mhm.
And, he's chucking threes, and taking shots every 10 seconds.
7 seconds. Yeah, he wants
To fire one up there. I mean, it doesn't necessarily work, on a championship level, but because you know why, Lubie? Defense wins championships.
Yeah, okay.
How many times have you heard that in your lifetime?
Well, life. What do you mean? We have a buddy in our chat that literally to this day, when he talks about the Dolphins, he's like, "Well, the defense." It's like, dude, they've held them to 10. You want them like, what do you want the defense to do? They need to score more than 2. They got one.
I was just sorry. I was just reading something, about the needs of various teams, and they were analyzing the AFC East today.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that the Dolphins have absolutely no need to worry at the quarterback position.
I mean, that's wrong.
What was this guy looking at?
Look,
he kind of brushed off the Tua injury stuff, but I don't know. I mean, Tua looked great in spots, but did he convince you that, he's one of these guys that's always going to be on his game?
I don't look, the games that were off that you struggled with also tied into injury things. So a lot of people are saying when he's injured, he didn't play well. Duh. I'm a convert. I don't agree that he's light years behind Herbert when he's healthy. But the thing is, Herbert plays every game.
Yeah.
Tua does not.
Herbert just looks different out there. He looks the part.
Well, he doesn't get hit in and I'm not even mocking the thing he does.
If Herbert's throwing to these guys, I mean, maybe he's staggering behind this offensive line, but
yeah, he is.
What do you think?
I mean, his talent is not his issue. It's the coaching sucks and their line wasn't great. And look, but he's on the field. They always say like one of the most.
And he takes a beating and takes a licking, keeps on ticking. What watch was that for? Timex. What was it? Was it Timex? Was that the name of the watch? Timex? There was a watch called Timex? Wow, that goes way back.
Big brand. I think it still exists. I think Timex
takes a licking, and keeps on ticking. That was a great advertising slogan. It really was. I mean, I still remember it today. I can't remember what. I mean, and I do believe that it was for Timex, right? What was the name of the watch?
Yes.
Which isn't exactly. I mean, do you see
It
people
says-
like gaudily displaying their Timex watches? No,
I mean,
be
the
more
dates-
likely to display like a Mickey Mouse watch.
no, Timex.
Unbelievable. I had all this stuff on odds and ends here too, Libby. I was going to get into this today on a Degenerate Friday because I was going to do a little look ahead here to see who has the best shot to win these championships.
Timex exists. Timex is still a big deal. What are you talking?
Oh yeah, get out of here.
Yes, it's a nice watch.
It is.
I think it's like a Rolex, but it's like what's the one with the C? What the hell's the one? I can't think of the name, but it's like that. It's like a mid-range nice watch. It's not like fucking Rolex
All
or
right.
Bulova, but it's.
I don't wear a watch. I don't want to know what time it is. Do you really need a watch now? Everybody's got their phone in their hand.
I wear a watch and
24
don't
hours a
use it for the time. It's the wrong time. I just wear a watch to wear it. Like who actually looks at their watch for the time?
I was never a jewelry guy. I just don't care for him. I mean, nothing. Not even a wedding ring. I immediately tossed that right after the ceremony.
Well, says a
It was
lot.
for other reasons, but had nothing to do with my desire not to wear any jewelry. No, it was fine. I don't know what happened to it. I lost it, which never sits well with the woman. Why are you not wearing your wedding ring?
My mom, I think, is the only woman that's okay with it, and they've been married 43 years, so
Yeah.
they have their thing going. But literally, my father-in-law hadn't worn a ring, and we were away, and I was about to propose to Shirley. And when we're in Thailand, her mom got really weird and made him get a ring. And then since then, it's been 3 years since I.
Yeah.
Now he wears it all the time, and he never wore his ring, never. And it weirded her out. It bothered the living shit out of her.
Do we have a boxing bell or something? Can we ring a bell here? Because Hialeah Park's going to be a blast tonight. I'm looking very much forward to it. A lot of bouts on this card. It's not like you're not going to get your money's worth in terms of action. I mean, you always do at Hialeah Park. And the main event features, I think he was a two-time world champion, Guillermo Rigondeaux, fighting as a bantamweight. This was a Cuban defector who I want to say made his debut here in Miami, his pro debut, and fought here many, many times, and very popular. It's going to be a wild following for not only Rigondeaux, but many of the other Cuban defectors who are now under the auspices of Warriors Boxing with Leon Margulies and, of course, the great Louis DeCubas at the helm there. They always put on action fights, and should be a lot of fun tonight at Hialeah Park. You can still get tickets, so, see us down there. Andy, I have your ticket, so but I'm going to get there really, really early because I've decided just from a mechanical point of view, I guess you would call it, the trip down to Gulfstream puts me probably more than halfway from my place to Hialeah Park. And unfortunately, the last thing you want to do is drive from Broward down to Miami at 5 o'clock at night.
Oh, no. Your move is perfect. I mean, you're not a person that struggles to be at a track.
Yeah.
So to do Gulfstream to 2 something.
Gulfstream, yeah, I can hang out there at 2:30 and then shoot right down and resume the session at another simulcasting room. This reminds me of the old days when my buddy Mike Fernandez and I were working in Tampa. And then we realized that if we played our cards right, we could not only catch the first few races at Tampa Bay Downs before we had to leave town, but then get back in town in time to not only catch the last few races of the dog track afternoon matinee session, but also be in highlight later on that night. And it was a degenerate triple header, an extraordinary, a degenerate triple header. Expensive, but extraordinary nonetheless. Where you can make it to 3 pari-mutuel facilities in one day. What would be the record for people? Because usually at one place, you either win or lose. You don't necessarily, go to another place. Although it was very common, and one of my favorite characters ever. And I can still picture this guy, although I didn't know him personally, and I never took advantage of his service. But there was always a guy outside of Aqueduct and Belmont, and he would wear a top hat and a tuxedo, and he would be just standing in the corner going, Trotter car. And he had a limousine, and he was taking as many people as he could fit in the car, straight from the flats all the way to the harness track, whatever harness track happened to be open. And I always wanted to just jump in that car and say, wow, I mean, that would be a dream come true to go straight from here and have a ride to the Jugheads. Now, I don't know how people got home from there. That was a whole nother matter. But the guy with the trotter car, and I thought, wow, what sick degenerates are getting on involved in that trip. And yet I wanted to be one of them. Trotter car guy was right up there in my estimation in terms of great characters at racetracks. What with the Onion Man, who was selling the burgers as you were walking out of, I believe it was Belmont Park. Might have been Aqueduct. You have to be in more of a slimy environment for this guy to actually be impactful. And all he ever said, I mean, everybody loved his burgers. They were greasy. They were perfect. Great thing to have on your way out of the racetrack there, whether you were getting on, some subway and to go somewhere in the city or driving your car. And only word he ever spoke was onion, 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 and that was it. That's all he did. And it was a simple yes or no.
That's always required.
Wave them off. Yeah. No, I mean, you wanted the onions. A burger without grilled onions. Forget about it. Who needs it? All right. But Hialeah is going to be a blast tonight. Tickets, I mean, you can order them in advance of going down there at HialeahPark.com. You can pick them up. There you go. That's kind of a warped boxing bell there. Where'd you buy that off? Don King?
It's the bell we've used since I met you. It's the same bell. I just forgot what I had.
Funny. Yeah. I don't know if it's playing slowly or something. Hit that again. Oh, now it sounds good. Yeah. Maybe I was just stepping on it. I don't know.
Probably.
I crushed it. See us down there. Okay, so Annie, I have your pass to get in there. And the professor's going. He's coming on his own. The lovely and talented one, I think, is going to be on the scene tonight.
And she's ready. She's going to give me a report on all the degeneracy. I'm like, all right, good. You'll be my on-site reporter.
I'm going to need a cut man after I get finished up. I mean, imagine being in 2 pari-mutuel facilities in the same day with a limited bankroll. That's not going to be easy. I basically have to hit my first bet today. I have a small ticket to cash from last Friday at Gulfstream. I left and then ended up winning just like almost a consolation, nothing bet. So it's probably going to be worth about $20. And I think I have to go with a cold $20 double. What do you think? On something. I'm going to have to take a look at the Aqueduct entries here and see if there's any cinch in the first race that I can just absolutely count on. And then try to get something wild in the second race. Maybe pick up what? If I can pick up a $32 double, boom. That's $320, and then I'm off to the races, literally, for the second time. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here. Hialeah Park, though, tonight. You can get tickets, I would imagine, at the box office, and probably, there'll be some walk-up tickets available. So that's 7 o'clock tonight. The card gets underway. It's going to be a blast. Boxing, El Boxeo, returns to Hialeah Park. We're very excited about that, and we'll be there and stop by and say hello if you're in the crowd there. And we'll be, I don't know that we're going to be mingling up there in the grandstand so much, but, the ringside apron and the lower seats down there. Going to be a fantastic time. And always a lot of celebrities on hand there, too. It's always great. You think Tito Puente Jr. comes out? Should they have him do the anthem with his band? Come on, Frankie.
That'd be the move.
That would be great. I don't know. He probably just comes out there to have a good time. All right, coming back with the Greek, and then the professor, Mike Mayo, is going to join us. And, wow, it just keeps going. We're going to do a little overtime today, as we also are going to have Ron Rothstein about what amounts to supposedly the second half of the heat season, but it's actually the fourth quarter of the heat season.
Yeah.
20 games left or so. And Ian Eagle at 9 o'clock. We'll do a little overtime today. So a lot to do here on a Degenerate Friday. Back in a moment with the Greek. Now that.
The time.
7:28. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, There is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Unless it was Cap Day had called her, the woman in my life was getting nothing.
But they get you. I mean, to meet a guy
Get out
like
of here.
you,
That's a disaster.
You know where you at?
One doesn't
Come on,
work.
you got to go to Port Authority like 3 a.m. to meet somebody like you. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Fetal position somewhere in the corner, maybe thinking about just jumping in front of a train.
The Defo Show, featuring Lubie. Welcome back to The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday is underway, and we're going to go with an extended version of the program today, as we'll feature the great Ian Eagle, humble enough to come on this show, even though, wow, what's the going rate right now when you're, absolutely in the shadow of the footsteps of Jim Nantz and tracking this guy. And everybody knows that Eagle's a better announcer at this point, right? I mean, I don't think that's even up for debate. This guy's a great guy to talk to about anything. And the author of that last quote about the Port Authority, which Greek, have you ever taken like a long bus ride? I can't picture you
Never.
like on a Greyhound bus like Russell Rizzo.
Never. No.
Right.
I never took mass transit in my life, and I never took subway in the city. I lived in the city 10 years.
You never took the subway ever?
Subway? No, in New York. I mean, I could see you being a subway guy. No,
Great.
No.
always car service. I mean, how did that work?
Are you kidding me?
Car service. Yeah.
Not even a cab.
Not even cabs.
No, I would say cab. Yeah,
Okay,
because I would let them see me and they'd be excited to see me and stuff like that. But for most of our car services, yeah.
When you were going to those degenerate underground casinos, then I mean, you would arrive, via car service.
Probably.
Yeah, usually like the bodegas and places like that. We go play roulette and blackjack and freedom.
Yeah.
Down in Soho, yeah.
That's so good.
Restaurant, the whole place. Yeah. All the cooks would go, Mr. G's here. I'm like, all right.
Car service.
This is a question.
You know,
Go ahead.
those days there was really no ATMs, and there was always somebody handing out cash at a point.
Yes. Predating the ATM machine, man. I mean, you talk about prehistoric times. I don't know how we ever survived. It was amazing. Yeah. And you would have to go ahead and see the guy in the corner there and maybe have to put up 6 points a week, and promise, you'd always say optimistically, I'll have the money back for you in 1 week. Don't worry. There ain't going to be a lot of juice on this, right? And 6 years later, you're still paying a guy.
2 hours.
Yeah, and they would throw out amounts that would make your head like go crazy, especially me. Like he'd come up. I remember this one guy, Mike, older gentleman, was always in there, and I'd be playing roulette, and he'd go, "Gee, I'm in the corner if you need 10 large." And I look at him like, 10 large? Maybe I need like a G.
You could buy a house for that back then.
Yeah. Well, then we're talking like, I think when this really got kicking in was late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And then one time he's like, "Hey, we got a special. If you want 20, I'll give it to you at a half a point."
Half a point?
I said,
What, an hour?
Yeah, I said, no, it was half a point. He goes, half a point. He goes, you get 20,000 for half a point. I said, nah, I'm good. To tell you the truth.
That ain't bad. I mean, you know what? That's a lot better than the banks are giving out today. I can assure you, having been in the process of getting this loan for like the last 2 years.
Yeah. It said Chase Manhattan. Neon sign over him said Chase Manhattan. So,
how you been? I wanted to get your opinion on this. I've never seen you. I don't know. Do you ever eat anything? I mean, you eat those steaks, I guess, at Monroe's.
Yeah.
But you're not a big eater. You don't drink. Do you indulge in stone crabs at all?
Oh yeah, I love stone crabs. I get them from Joseph's all the time. I used to get them all the time. I like stone crabs. I go to New York Prime all the time for steak. I don't
Yeah.
eat home. I told you last week the guy came, something was wrong with my apartment. He goes, just move in. I go, no, 2 years. He goes, you ever open a stove? I go, nope. I go, no. I never use the microwave. I don't know how to cook.
Do you have anything in the refrigerator?
No, I got a case of water and a Dom Perignon bottle. And a half a bottle of whipped cream if anybody comes over and they want me.
Oh, there you go. Well, that makes some sense. All right, so you would rate the stone crab highly then. Now, we had the occasion to get some freebie stone crabs yesterday, which was great. I mean, and as Mike Mayo pointed out, other people's money, always the best way to, go ahead and down a few stone crabs. But, in your case, it doesn't matter because you've got money coming out of your rear end. But, for the average person, to pay, what, $49 a pound for, large stone crabs? Do you think that
I go to Joe's.
It's a little overrated there? No?
Okay, well,
Joe's can't be cheap.
Whether it's a hook. No, forget Joe's. You got to give your kidney. Whether it's a hooker or a stone crab, something's worth what somebody will pay.
Yeah.
Some girl's getting $25,000 tonight in Vegas. Is she worth it? No, but she's getting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers is getting $53 million next year. He ain't worth it, but he's getting it. Stone crabs for $50,000. Somebody's paying it. It's market price, which but people love it. And it's always, they give you that stuff. Oh, it's in season. In season to get robbed.
Yes.
I tell you, the best stone crabs I had one time, you'll never believe it. I was driving down to South Beach with this girl, and we were going past the AAA in Miami, right?
Okay.
And on the side of the road, there was a guy, old station wagon, had an umbrella that said stone crabs. And she was like, babe, why don't we stop there and get stone crabs? I go, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, in Overtown. You always think about going there.
Yeah. We stopped and we had them and they were great.
That's
and they
funny.
were cheap.
Yeah. It's high risk, though, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people, there was a stone crab guy that used to always be camped out on Sample Road. And I would see him every Saturday on my way back. And he had like stone crabs and shrimp. And apparently he was very reputable. But I don't know. Is there a reluctance to stop? I mean, if you're buying a watermelon, that's one thing. You can, see the thing and how much damage could they do to it. But, who knows where these stone crabs came from.
Well, there's age.
I trusted the guy because he had a pair of Tommy Bahama shorts, Miami Dolphin undefeated T-shirt on, and a presidential Rolex. So I said,
there you go. The Rolex is.
But I don't see you being the kind of guy that's inclined to buy like some arepas or maybe those shish kebabs and a Fanta soda.
No.
As you go into a Heat game with some babe
No.
to sit courtside next to Pat Riley and his lovely wife.
No, I'm not doing that. Well, you think I'm going to buy something like that? Shish kebab? I can't even smell it. I'm not going to buy it. So you'll love this dating story. So I go out with this girl last week, a couple weeks ago. We get together. Very nice girl. Nice girl. We have a good time. Great time, actually. One of my best first dates. I would have bet $20,000. No problem. Second date in the bank.
Okay.
So I leave the house like 2 o'clock in the morning. She's like, do you want to go out again? I said, yeah. I'll pick you up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. She goes, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock? She goes, I might get back with my boyfriend tomorrow. I'm not sure.
Oh, my God. That's horrible. Yeah.
He says it
I said, I didn't catch that during the last 7 hours. And when you were
No. When your tongue was, practically in my, middle of my chest there.
Yes.
Internally. Yeah.
I said, I'm going to tell Defo this. He's a man who likes to hear bad news right away.
Yes.
I said, so I will see you soon.
That's classic.
But you hear all kinds of crazy stuff. I remember going out with a girl, and she actually, and I played gentleman on the first date, and then the second date, the test is you take them to the track, and you see how much indifference they can put up with, and whether or not they can stand being completely ignored. While you degenerate into the racing form and all your buddies and start screaming like a maniac and really, appear to be somewhat of a lunatic. And if she can survive that, then it's a keeper, and I've got sucked in on that a couple of times. But so I take this girl out and, I did all the things. I brought flowers. I, opened the car door for her on her side. I had met her in kind of a nice environment when we first connected and agreed to go out. So, there was already some kind of, attraction there on the different levels. And we go to the Cafe Max for dinner, nice stuff. I know the owner's there, so I get the Greek treatment. And sure enough, she calls me the next morning and says, you know what? That was the most wonderful time I've ever had in my life. You're a true gentleman, and that was just a perfect evening. Thank you so much. And I did the same thing like you did. I said, okay, so you want to go out again like tonight, tomorrow, whatever. And she said, I don't really see any reason why we should ever go out again. I was like, well, what kind of schizoid motherfucker? I mean,
Oh yeah.
then you want your money back. You're like asking Daryl and Oliver at the Cafe Max, hey, listen, can I get some kind of rebate, man? You know how many times I've mentioned your place on the air?
Exactly.
You feel like you just got the shaft there on a $200 dinner.
No, she was cool, smoking hot, but I was in shock when she said that. Then I saw her like a week later, and she's like, I'm sorry, I was working out some stuff, and all this other stuff. And I said, you don't make sense. I said, but all the luck in the world. I hope things work out with you and him. And if they don't, well,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, you threw in the towel. Nice.
Yeah, why not?
You went Lou Duva on this one, man. Just threw the towel right in there, as if you knew the Pazienza couldn't fight after the accident. What happened to the one that was balancing the martinis on her nipples? That you were with at Louis Bossy when Lubie ran into you. Is she still in the picture?
Yeah, we had a nice run. But it didn't work out. Not that it was going to. It was more we were banging around, having a good time, and she was in the Greek circuit and going out and having a good time. I mean, they have a good time. Who doesn't? I would like to go to nice restaurants and everybody knows you and get free shit. So, I mean,
honestly, yes.
You pay a couple of people to come up and say, hey, Greek, man, I love your show.
He doesn't have to pay.
So, she doesn't even know what you do. So, then you have to. Yeah, yes, I am in show business. You humbly admit. All right. Are you having any luck? I mean, have you returned? You're back on the dating scene, which is good. I mean, we find this very promising, even if you're out there getting destroyed on a nightly basis. But what about? Are you back into making a few wagers? I know you made that big score in a Super Bowl. So, are you reinvesting some of that cash in basketball?
Yeah, I'm watching hoops a lot. Getting ready for March Madness. While the Canes are playing great, 11 in the country.
Yes.
I mean, they've been covering a lot, especially on the road. They covered against Virginia Tech. So I think they're going to have a nice run in the ACC. XFL, I'm really not looking at. My friends are betting it. Like last night, they bet Seattle -4, but they lost.
On what basis? I mean, what do we know about these guys? The professor looks at quarterbacks and sees some of these teams have quarterbacks that are so pathetic that you couldn't possibly play them, even with somebody else's money. What are they basing their wagers on in the XFL?
They're flipping a coin.
Standard procedure.
Yeah, they don't really care. They're degenerates. They just want to bet.
XFL.
Yeah, I was out last night and just got one of my buddies called me and he was like, Greek, what do you think? Seattle, Birmingham. I said, you going there on vacation? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, bro. I was at the Honda the last couple of days with Tito. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no. How's that going? I haven't been there for a long, long time.
It always gets packed. It's the last year that Honda is going to be the sponsor. They've been a sponsor since '96.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah. And a lot of girls. Oh, Tito's. We were in this Tito's Stillhouse Lounge, which was great, and we had a good time. It was good. It was getting crowded. It really was. I bet that guy Aaron Wise. He was 22-1. He didn't have the first day, so some guy comes up to me. Goes, Greek. I heard you bet that guy Aaron Wise. He goes, any reason? Like you got inside information? I said, no. I like potato chips. Wise? Well, I bet it.
And where does he stand right now? Did he make the cut? Or no, that would be today that they decide that. How's he doing? Was he buried in the first round? I always hate that when it happens when you bet a golfer.
I think he was like 20th.
20th? Okay, so he's right there. And you need him to win the thing, right?
Yeah, he's not going to win. It's 22-1.
Right, he only has to leapfrog 19 guys over the next 3 days, and that shouldn't be too tough. The bet is always this John Rahm guy, man. I mean, he's winning everything. And I was just looking to win the Masters. John Rahm, who has won 3 of 6 starts this year, and I believe he's won either 6 out of his last 10, 9, 10, or 12 tournaments. But it's some phenomenal ratio for winning a golf tournament. It's not top 5, not top 10s. I'm talking about wins. And Rom, if this is correct, I thought I was misreading this. Is 11-1 to win the Masters. I guess that's kind of short, right? I mean, you're going to get double-digit
They're
odds
like
on
a
almost
favorite.
anybody.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. You put $100 down. I mean that's what a lot of people do. I think that's worth it. 11-1. You pick up 1,100.
Yeah,
To me, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Not good because it's 4 days. If your guy makes a cut, then you know what? It's like betting a prop bet. In football that you're always in it. What do you think about this prop? Aaron Judge, 41 home runs for the year, over under.
Oh, that's nice.
Everybody's going to go over.
Yeah, that's nice.
No?
That's what I would think. I think that and it's average 288.
That's right on the Mendoza line there of wagering expertise. Yeah, I would say I think he presses a little bit. He says now. I was reading an article. Naturally the New York Post is inundated with Yankee stuff and Mets now because they have like a $345 million payroll. I mean, they're going to start changing the rules to keep Steve Cohen from going to his pockets and buying more players, and it would have been even higher. Had that deal worked out for Correa. They would have had like a $400 million payroll. Think about that. But we were staggering thinking about the Dodgers having a $200 million payroll. This guy was going to double that. But and it was saying that Judge is going to shorten up his swing with 2 strikes now, that he's going back to an old approach, that he might have been pressing a little bit to accomplish the record, and he was swinging for the fences all the time. I don't know. Do you buy that? I mean, that's not even what baseball, managers want anymore. That they want the guy to go ahead and go all or nothing. No.
Well, the Yankees have a bad lineup. I mean, they got Judge and everybody else. Like last year, didn't hit past 250. So I don't see them having another good year. They didn't really get anybody. Stanton's always hurt. The East is strong for the Yankees. I don't know. I think it might go because I think everybody is going to bet the over. But it's just amazing what you could bet today.
Oh, man.
I mean, the Super Bowl, I kid you not, and I'm around a lot of people.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people were more jacked up about their props than who was going to win the game.
I think a lot of people picked no side in the game and just bet a bunch of props.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, who do you like? I don't care. I got, Hurts for this. I got Mahomes for this. I got first touchdown. And it's amazing, but the younger generation really loves the props. Because I think also because they don't really have to watch the game. They look at their phone. They go, all right, he's got 82 yards. He needs 10. And they move on. And that's the trend that's going right now in sports betting. Even the guys I know in Vegas, they were telling me more sports books have sections just for props because and they got them every night now. Obviously in the NBA, you don't get in college, but NBA, every night you can bet rebound. You can bet, guy what he scores. And people like that.
Oh, they're loving it. Are you kidding me? In Atlantic City, that's all people were doing. We're betting props. If you found somebody who actually bet the game, that was a rarity. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You have the Chiefs? That's awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah, people would get excited about it. But I mean, and a lot of these props, some of them pop up, and if you do whatever research, whether you're doing it with your own eye test or you're actually gaining some statistical data. I mean, who was the backup running back for Philadelphia? Well, we had our man Brandon Lang said that it was a cinch. This guy was going to go over 19 yards rushing in the game, and he was more convinced of that than he was that Philadelphia was going to win the game, which ultimately they lost. But he managed to offset his problems with that bet.
Kenny, I forget his last name.
Something with a G. Yeah.
Yeah, number 14 it was. That he was. He definitely was. Yeah.
Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah. It's amazing. You see New Jersey again went over $1 billion in handle 4th month in a row, and New York now has sports betting.
Yeah.
You want to tell me people don't love betting in Jersey? $1 billion.
Yeah.
And New York's got it. They thought for a while, well, New York's going to get it. They're going to drop off 25%. No.
No, it was thriving. I mean, everybody was in action there. The sports books are not necessarily, they don't have the largesse of like Vegas sports books. When you go in the sports book like the one in Harrah's in Atlantic City, you wouldn't even know. I mean, you would have thought that was like the men's room. And it's nicely done, but I mean, it's not as elaborate as or a classic like you walk into Caesar's Palace and you got the big screens and the numbers and everything, and it looks like a scene at a casino. Whereas these are fairly low key, and modestly run, but still they're sending it in, like you said.
Steve, the big difference is today, 87%. I know all these stats are done on your phone.
Yeah, well, that's
people don't even go in. They don't care, Luke. I mean, they just on their phone all day. Bada bing, bada bing. You don't even have to go in. They can put a table like you used to broadcast with, and have a guy there with the New York Post, with a Tom Seaver jersey, and they would still make the money.
Yep.
Because guys don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that you have to have it legal and have to have a sports book somewhere so that you can have the stupid ass app. That's all. Mayo, we're literally at Gulfstream. Okay, we're at Gulfstream. It's Defoe's Dreamer right by the teller. Mayo still makes all his bets on his phone.
Yes.
That's just what it is.
A lot of guys at the track do that.
Professor
well,
does.
and you get rebates and things like that, and that makes a difference. I guess
Why wouldn't you do that?
they do have rewards programs for bettors, but I never take advantage of that. It's like it took me forever to start, getting, or using a credit card where you got something for it.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, why wouldn't you? I mean, if they're giving stuff away, well, why wouldn't you take it? All right, great. You have any games, anything that strikes you popping up, or you're just going to take it easy this weekend and bang hot chicks?
I'm going to say it light. Like I said, I would watch a couple of teams in the NBA the second half, see what Sacramento does. They're playing well. Denver's very good. They beat Cleveland again last night. That's the team I would stay on. The Heaters, they got Kevin Love. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do much. I really don't.
I'm with you on that. Too much to overcome.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah. I think Boston's the team, and Denver, and those two teams, I'd watch them down the stretch to get hot and keep winning.
All right. Excellent. Over under number of women that you'll be seeing over the weekend. I mean, I'm talking. We can count today: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 days. I'm going to go on a hook. Over under.
Way too many. No. I would say maybe 1.5.
1 and a hook. Well, that's still a good number. I mean, that means there's a possibility of at least, 2. I mean, and if you did them both at a time, does that count as a parlay? I mean, how does that work?
I got an event at Monroe's tomorrow night. I have to putt for a chance to win $10,000 for somebody.
Oh, yeah? Where's this now?
Yeah.
Where's this taking place?
Monroe's.
Oh, Monroe's. Okay, Monroe's. I thought you were at Pete Rose's place. I mean, there it would be appropriate to have gambling on virtually everything. Remember that when Pete had the place, the Pete Rose's, what was it? Ballpark Cafe? Something like that?
Yeah, it was in Boynton Beach. Yeah. I'm one of the celebrity putters.
Oh, Jesus. Good luck.
How's your game? I mean, can you putt it straight? I mean, what kind of terrain are you going to have to navigate to win this $10,000?
It's over a brunette's body.
Figures be trying to nail one between a large pair of breasts. Way to go, Greek. I mean, way to keep everything in the proper theme. All right, well, we love you. Good luck in that, and thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure, my friend. Good stuff today.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you guys next week. Lubie, be good. Love you.
All right, love you, Greek man.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, we're heading for the boxing tonight at Hialeah Park, and you know what? For that far south, we may as well just keep jogging down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, right? Mile marker 104, Isla Morada.
Yes,
not Isla Morada, Key Largo. Isla Morada's down the road, so if you're coming from Isla Morada, you want to stop in at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. There are a lot of classic places that people always thought about. The Mutineer was one of them, believe it or not, Lubie. Imagine that dump. People were like, oh, yeah, you're going to stop at the Mutineer. And then there was that Shell station there that had the plutonium encased sandwiches, and that was another highlight of the culinary offerings on your way down to the Keys, right? And then hopefully you would find some place that was making some conch fritters or something that you could gobble down. But now you can make that first stop there as you get into Key Largo, right on the bay side. Is mile marker 104 and Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Great food and drink, great variety, great times. I mean, the atmosphere is unparalleled. You really feel, you can feel a transformation, can't you, Lubie? The minute you set up shop there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, you're like, wow, this is the place to be. And as we said, the dining is just extraordinary. Whether you want casual stuff, whether you want pizzas, whether you want the specialized pizzas like the Italian fisherman, nachos, the pork nachos, legendary. You heard Tony's description, right? He couldn't believe it. And for the professor to need help, like How many guys did you have on that, thing of nachos?
CJ was there, you, Ken, me. I think we had like 5. The Mustang. I think we had like 5 of us eating the
We were all picking on that stuff. And there was still stuff left. I mean, and it wasn't like this plate of nachos I got the other night where you were saying, where's the beef? I mean,
exactly.
if I wanted a bag of chips, I would have ordered a bag of chips. But this looks nothing like the brochure.
That's not Jimmy Johnson's.
Which is often the case, in the Keys, right? What is that place I always go? The Sunset Inn. It's like $65 a night. Brochure makes it look like the Waldorf Astoria. You would think that they had white glove service everywhere, and then you can't even find a place to take a piss once you check in. What do you want for $65? But $65 goes a long way at the bar at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill or any of their dining spots there. They have, a sports bar there that was renovated a couple of years ago. It's great. Jimmy may be on the scene. You never know. The vibe is fantastic. You're going to love it. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. All right, a lot of stuff happening on the show. We have the big board with the professor coming up here in just a second. Mike Mayo is going to join us. He was going to handicap something. I forgot what it was that he said he had an opinion on. The Masters, I believe. Was that going to be his move today? I hope so. Because I was looking at the odds here, and it's pretty much throwing darts, isn't it? Trying to pick the winner of the Masters. I mean, can you handicap that? With all of the odd things that happen, I don't know. I would not take Tiger Woods, though, to win it at 46-1, would you? And then Ron Rothstein's going to be with us. Of course, the analyst now with the Miami Heat, the original coach of the Heat, about 8:45, and Ian Eagle at 9 o'clock. We'll go a little overtime today on a Degenerate Friday. So picking up the pace in just a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:56. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
This comes from the great Defo Lama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
This man's ready to fire on all cylinders, and that's why we love having him as a part of Degenerate Friday, or any show for that matter. Always a pleasure to welcome to the program as we welcome you back to the Defo Show, the Professor. And Professor, how are you, my friend?
I'm okay, Defo. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. You know what? I'm going to experience one of my favorite doubleheaders. I know you're planning on coming down to Hialeah for the fights tonight. And Lubie discovered this, and I don't know how many boxing matches. Had you been to boxing before attending the fights at Hialeah, live pro boxing?
A couple of times, but not a lot, no.
Oh, okay. But would you not, say it's a fair statement that the experience of watching it live, especially from the great ringside location that Frankie Fiore always provides us with, is entirely different than even watching the best of fights on TV?
100%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, very much like an NHL
yeah,
experience where you go to the game and go, "Well, I didn't know all this other shit was going on."
exactly.
It's great, but all right. So we're looking forward to seeing you tonight. Now, what is your strategy going to be? Are you going to try and leave from your northern Broward location, during rush hour and get down there for it's a 7 o'clock post time for these things?
Actually, I have a basketball practice I have to coach, and then I'll be headed
Oh
right
yeah.
down after that. Yeah.
What do you have? The Foundry team? I mean, where are you coaching?
No, I'm the coach of a 6-year-old league. Actually, I'm helping
Coaching
out with
Wait
the
a minute.
team.
Wait a minute. This seems totally incongruous
What's
with anything
amazing
that
is
we
he
know about you.
somehow has made it
I
a kid
didn't.
thing. Like it's
Yeah, I
kids.
mean, I know you like pets, but and dogs, but little kids,
No, but
I
it's
can't see
little
it.
kids, and he somehow has made them take it seriously, and
No.
they're like actually getting
Oh
emails.
yeah,
Big.
I'm like the
Make it real. It's
I'm like
amazing.
the Jerry Tarkanian of 6-year-old basketball.
So funny.
What, what do you
We
got? Some kid from Zambia that's playing on a team?
no, actually he's from New York.
Okay. A 6-year-old you imported?
Much like Tark with Armin Gilliam or
Yeah,
who was the guy who coached FAU? Sidney Green back in the day.
yeah.
Yeah, we import him out of the city, and
Who was the kid
press
that
everywhere, and
he had a very star-crossed life, and he was like reading the newspaper upside down on a bus. I mean, there was no way he could have qualified
I think you would be
academically.
referring to Sweet Pea Lloyd Daniels,
Lloyd
perhaps.
Daniels, yeah, remember that? That was,
He
I
only
mean,
played about 10 games at UNLV. Most infamously was part of the hot tub picture with Sonny Vaccaro. Um,
who had a sneaker in his mouth while he was getting a
yeah,
blowjob from some
not
chick.
Tark's finest moment at UNLV.
Yet he was lovable. He was,
Oh, he's great.
criminal but lovable. Yes, he
Again,
basically just said, "Hey, you know what? Everybody's doing this, so
I
I'm
don't
just
think
on
he's
the open."
criminal. I think he was just ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly.
yeah, no, and he did a great job. I remember when he was coaching at Long Beach State before he got the UNLV job, and then he ended up at like Fresno State and did some good there.
Yes.
Yeah, before eventually his methods caught up with him, I guess, and they finally couldn't tolerate it anymore. What do you think about this guy playing for Alabama the other night? I mean, I mean,
It's such an ugly
yeah.
situation.
I mean, the more I saw, in
I'm
terms
not
of the
gonna lie,
details that were out, I thought it was a disgrace. When
I'm
you
not
happen
gonna
to
lie, that was actually the subject of the big board originally this week, but I had to change it. I was talking about Lubie because ultimately you're doing jokes about a situation where a young woman, a single mother, got murdered. I mean,
Yes.
brutally murdered in the middle of the trial. And I was like, I mean, there's a lot of material here from the fact that the coach 6 months ago, in terms of how the team should react, called Ray Lewis for advice,
Yeah.
which
Wow.
again, I mean, I'm a Hurricanes fan, but you look at Alabama's strategy, and it does
Yeah.
seem like Ray was the guy who defined how they were going to handle this situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
just let him play.
That's it. Why
Look,
should we react at all? Yeah, until we know all the facts.
I know from what the law enforcement community have said, this kid did not commit accessory to murder.
Okay.
But let's be honest, the NCAA suspension has never been about what's legal and illegal necessarily. There's all sorts of things you can do that will get you an NCAA suspension that are not against the, it's not against the law to cheat on your final exam. But if you get caught doing it,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to play basketball.
Right. I mean, I mean, it might have been, if the kid's completely innocent of everything and knew nothing about it, and the
Again,
whole,
there's no way you can argue that he's completely innocent.
yeah,
of
it's
everything.
impossible, right?
Even if you assume he didn't know what was going to happen, you still brought a guy a loaded gun at 1:30 in the morning.
Yes.
There's no way you could argue
my
that's
God.
not an amazingly bad, horrible decision you made that ultimately led to a murder.
Yeah, murder
Right,
mysteries.
and you're representing a university that's supposed to be, what we know. This is all BS, but I mean, this is an institution of higher learning, supposedly, and
I mean, it's
any other
Alabama.
student that's involved in this incident is gone. I mean,
It's
he's at a
Alabama, so
JUCO in
it's
Tuscaloosa.
Alabama, so it's an institution of like maybe mid-level at best learning. And I think that might be
Yeah, I mean,
generous.
it's
I wouldn't use the word higher learning when it comes to university. I don't know about you, Defo, when you were applying to schools, but when I was applying to schools, if you were like me and you had something on your academic record, in my case, pretty much all my grades in high school, that meant you may or may not get into a good school.
Yes.
Alabama was the first place you applied, just so I have somewhere to go.
Better than BCC.
Yeah, I was amazed at the level of tolerance of the acceptance committee at the schools I applied to, including the Q's.
Me too.
Where I ended up going, but I only went. I went to that Barron's Guide of American colleges and universities. I don't know if that's still around, and they have like a little description of every school and what they specialize in. And the key number there was ratio men to women.
Yep.
I mean, if it was out of proportion, I guess Lubie, found a place where there were more women than men. Is that true in FSU?
No, it was like 11-4. It was fucking spectacular.
But I was like applying to Vassar, Rensselaer. I mean, like a lot of these places.
Really? You applied to RPI? I cannot
No,
see you as an engineer.
no. What would I be doing? Applying to RPI. My grade point average, if I didn't change the numbers on my report card, I would have averaged like a 65 for my high school.
My standard when I just wanted to make sure I got into somewhere so I'd have somewhere to go. So I looked up whatever the guide was at the time, U.S. News and World Report. And I found Alabama, and it was, if you can say Roll Tide, you're in. If you can spell Roll Tide, you're an honor student.
Yeah.
So
they hold up a
that
picture
was
of Nick
literally
Saban.
the first school I applied to back in the day.
Who is this?
And I got in like
what sport does this man coach?
Nick
Saban.
Who Bear Bryant was, you're in.
If you don't know who Saban is, you can't get in, right? I mean, that's the way
and then it was like 20 years later that I discovered I had made a mistake because Boise State, actually much easier to get into. Little known fact from their football team, Boise State, not only if you can spell Boise State are you in, but if you can draw the turtle or the pirate, you get an academic scholarship.
BOYZE, and you still get in. All right, give us some games. We have a lot of stuff coming up here, so we want to get into the big board and give you some time to embellish that. But anything on the slate that you're looking at, Professor?
Yeah, there's a couple of favorites in college basketball tonight I like a little bit. Xavier going to Seton Hall. X playing very well right now. The whole Big East really at the top. Bunch of teams that I kind of think are sleepers for the tournament, including Xavier, including Marquette, including Creighton, even though they took it on the chin from Marquette the other night at home. But a Seton Hall team I have not been impressed with. Excuse me. So Xavier laying 1.5, I think looks good tonight. And favorites have done pretty well on Friday nights. And we'll go back that with Nevada going to Fresno State, one of Tark's former teams. The stop, they don't really remember the post-UNLV stop with, who's the kid from New York, played for the Heat? Rafer Alston briefly played for Fresno State. And followed that with Chris Herron. So you went from Skip to my Lou to the kid who was famous for being a drug addict, basically.
Yes.
Interesting days at Fresno State. Unfortunately, that team has really not gone much anywhere after Tark left. And Nevada playing very well to finish the season here. So Nevada -2.5 to go with Xavier -2.5. And then the XFL, we will go with Vegas -3 tomorrow night.
How'd you do last week?
Which team is Vegas? They only have the nicknames of the teams here. I'm not sure who's who.
No idea what the city is.
Are they the Roughnecks?
Outlaws? No, the Roughnecks are Houston.
Okay. They're the Outlaws.
Yes.
All right. I don't see them listed here.
It's a Saturday game, not a Sunday game.
Okay. They have Vipers and Defenders.
Start.
I don't even think
the
Post.
Sunday game.
Oh, okay. So they don't even have that game listed. All right. Maybe it's off the board there on the Post. When they
people didn't even know the XFL played a game last night. AJ McCarron
I didn't know. Yeah.
led the St. Louis Battlehawks over the Seattle Sea Dragons, were notable for Josh Gordon playing there.
Who's the shit quarterback this year? Did your guy come back? The guy that you always bet against? Did he come back?
No, Shea Patterson. Although we have an excellent trivia question. that popped up earlier this week in that Paxton Lynch hint for people who do the trivia challenge or come to Landlubbers. This might show up on a trivia quiz at some point. Paxton Lynch became the first quarterback in history to be benched as a starter in the NFL, the XFL, the USFL, and the CFL. He has now completed the cycle where Paxton Lynch has been benched in every league there is to play football.
I remember Lee Steinberg telling us that this kid was going to be great. Yeah, absolutely. He brought him back from the grave, and fortunately, he fell into Mahomes right after that. All right, let's get to the big board. Because
who's the shit quarterback you should bet against? It's DeAndre Francois, former Florida State quarterback, playing for the Orlando Guardians, who are getting 3.5 at home from the San Antonio. I don't know. Is it the Brahmas? The Brahmas, like the
looks
Bulls,
like the Brahmas, like the Brahma. Yeah,
Bulls used to be. Yeah,
but DeAndre Francois is the scrub you should go against. He's not quite on the Shea Patterson level, but
you can count on him. Having a bad game. All right, let's turn our attention to the big board here, and we'll just let you go ahead and sling it as the big board for this week. The professor, ladies and gentlemen.
Defo, I don't know if you saw it, but the NBA All-Star Game.
Brilliant.
Posted record low ratings, the lowest ratings they've had in the modern era on Sunday night, which goes with my personal theory that all-star games at this point should be canceled. And honestly, compliments to the NFL this year, who totally thrashed the Pro Bowl weekend, that there's no way this thing's going to last more than a year or two before they just cancel it. The NFL just put out pure garbage. Yeah. And then to let you know that it was pure garbage, brought in Pete Davidson to host it because it's like a perfect person. Like, we're just pulling out a pure pile of shit, and here is America's worst celebrity to present it to you.
Yeah.
And on top of it, let Pete Davidson show up totally stoned on national television to host it. So, I compliments to Roger Goodell and the National Football League on just saying, yes, we are acknowledging that all-star games are total garbage and should not exist. So we're going to do some stupid challenge that nobody wants to watch and follow up that with a flag football game hosted by Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Just to see how many of you are so pathetic that you'll actually watch it.
He's going to kick off the combine ceremonies, and they're going to measure his schlong.
No,
okay.
Don't
now
let
we see
Pete
why.
Davidson anywhere near the NFL Combine. I still want to watch the NFL Combine.
Yeah.
Screw that. Keep Pete Davidson away from it. But again, compliments to the NFL because all-star games should be done away with. I know that Major League Baseball still has its fans. If you want to do Major League Baseball, go ahead. I don't care. I don't watch it anyway. But the NBA, totally falling apart at this point. Nobody wants to watch it. I don't know what this stupid let's draft players and then play a game like it's some pickup game nonsense is.
As if you're at the
I don't know where the hell that came from. I don't get it. And the NBA All-Star Game has certainly had a lot of lows over the years.
Yes.
There's been some highs. People love the free throw line dunk by Jordan. Everybody except Philadelphia loved when Kobe went back to Philadelphia and was the MVP of the game, and then the Philly fans booed the hell out of him, which I personally really enjoyed because I detested Kobe at that point in his career. But there's been some highs, but there's been a lot of lows over the year in the NBA, and that's what we're going to discuss on the big board this week. It's the big board of the NBA All-Star Bleak End.
Well titled, my friend.
And we're going to go to number 5, which I don't know if this is even high enough on the big board. It was a very interesting moment. Let's take you back to 2015, where people weren't watching NBA All-Star Saturday because nobody ever heard of was in the dunk contest. Nobody really gave a damn about the three-point contest. And it was even by the point in time where big men were participating in the stupid skills challenge, because that's what we want to see. Kristaps Porzingis throw a bounce pass into a net. So the NBA tried something new, and that was two ball. This one's 2015. This was Little League for 20. They actually replaced the dunk contest one year with two ball in their desperate attempt to push the WNBA onto an America that wants absolutely nothing to do with women's basketball, to the point where they got legitimate players. In this case, Clyde Drexler was about 75 years old at the time. And they paired him with Cynthia Cooper, who I think had been pregnant about 45 seconds before she started the 2-ball contest. And they won. On top of it, did they play 2-on-2? Did they do something interesting? Did they have a lower basket women's dunk contest? No. They played some game called 2-ball that nobody had ever heard of, that nobody knew existed.
Yeah.
Again, a real low moment for the NBA All-Star Weekend, trying to get the WNBA to participate, which America reacted with what America's always reacted to, the WNBA, by not watching.
Remember that We Got Next campaign when they first came on the scene? And, you were so appalled by the number of times that you've been hit over the head with the We Got Next that you couldn't stomach watching 1 second of WNBA basketball. I think that set the league back light years.
It wasn't the number of times they hit you over the head, Defo.
Yeah.
It was the number of times they tried to focus on Rebecca Lobo's head, which was the size of an Easter Island statue. They had her screaming, "We got next" to the camera. They couldn't get her head into focus. I don't know how that – I mean, look, she's a great basketball player today, but I don't know how she walks with that watermelon on top of a pencil. And they tried to build the league around her because they had loved her at UConn, which, again, I questioned the whole state of Connecticut based on their love of women's basketball. Like, I don't know how that has become a source of state pride for them. It's like it's like Florida being proud because of our cocaine. Like, I don't get I don't get Connecticut's obsession. And again, the country responded to Rebecca Lobo, and We Got Next with, "Jesus, your head's huge. I can't take that. That doesn't fit on my television."
All right, 2-ball. Excellent start. The Bleakend, NBA All-Star Bleakend.
Number 4, as previously mentioned, 2015, the WNBA brought in a fashion show.
That was the worst.
Where everybody expected James Harden to steal the show, and he showed up in a white raincoat for some reason.
I said it looks like a schmata.
There's so many
My mom has that.
things going on here. Again, a fashion show. This is what you thought sports fans wanted. And honestly, you let James Harden be one of the stars and you didn't know something weird was going to happen. As I have said about James Harden before, nowhere in history has anybody been as good as a thing as James Harden is at basketball and still so unwatchable.
Yes.
It's like James Harden's whole career, both in basketball and in life, is to make you stop watching, is to make it as painful as possible for you to
You're
look at me doing a thing. Yes. Again, there's never been anybody as talented who is as hard to watch in everything he does as James Harden is. And then you combine it because, of course, at the time he was dating Khloe Kardashian. So you tried to let the Kardashians influence what went on in the All-Star game. Yeah, that was a great idea. Let's combine the Kardashians with our already hard-to-watch NBA All-Star Weekend. Who the hell was supposed to watch
that? Yeah, that was, Harden shows up in some weird-looking stuff. I mean, Westbrook, he wasn't an All-Star, but, might have been a better choice there.
Here's the
come
thing.
Up with something.
As much as Harden was a bad idea, you know who else was the star of the fashion show? Which probably, again, should have told you this was an ill-conceived concept from the start. It was J.R. Smith, who showed up in a Fox stall. Yeah, let's create an event centered around how J.R. Smith, the man who couldn't keep his shirt on at a parade, dresses. That seems like a fantastic idea. That's what
Fashion
America
show.
wants.
Yeah.
More J.R. Smith not playing basketball.
All right, that's number 4 on the big board of the NBA All-Star Bleakend.
Number 3, and of course, we talked a lot about national anthems here on the big board in the show. It's actually where the big board started, was with national anthems through history. And the NBA probably had the greatest national anthem in the history of sports national anthems in Marvin Gaye's 1983 rendition, often cited as the greatest sports national anthem of all time, along with Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl.
Oh, Whitney Houston, yeah, that was.
But if you had to pick a moment where it hit the wall for the NBA, it was actually a national anthem, and that is Fergie's 2013 national anthem at the All-Star game, where if you saw this, you would not be surprised in the least that Fergie went into rehab for meth addiction about 3 months after she sang it.
And we're laughing at that again.
And she's still all
that.
compliments to Fergie, because never has any human being managed to remain this good looking while being addicted to meth.
No, that's true. Yeah, usually you lose your teeth first, and then it goes downhill from there.
But if you remember this All-Star game, first of all, the West was basically just the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And then they trotted out Fergie, who I don't even know how to describe this. Like, I don't know if she was just stoned and not knowing what she was doing, or if she tried to overdo it with the, oh, no, I'm really a soul singer because I'm part of the Black Eyed Peas. I'm not just here to be a piece of ass. I'm very talented. All of which the answer to is no. And then, to top it off, the Warriors couldn't stop laughing at her. Like Draymond Green had to make faces throughout the entire national anthem to avoid busting out laughing. And again, it wasn't disrespectful. It was how the entire country reacted to this national anthem. So if you had to pick a moment where it hit the wall for the NBA All-Star game, I feel like you have a very high moment here, which was Fergie's national anthem. Pretty much the NBA All-Star game has been done since this. Like, guys were looking at like, you trot this out for the national anthem, and then I'm supposed to play defense. Come on, guys. I'm supposed to care about who wins this. I'm supposed to care about who wins this game after you've brought out this. And again, she remained great looking through a meth addiction somehow. Don't know how that happened. But yeah, to sing, this was I mean, honestly, Carl Lewis watched that and was like, damn, that's a shit national anthem.
He looked like Robert Merrill compared to the Fergie national anthem. All right, that's number 3 on a big board. Yes.
He looked like, as a national anthem singer, like a high on meth Fergie would look running a 100-yard dash.
Yeah.
Throwing a couple of hurdles. Yeah. Maybe the long jump. All right. Very good. Number 3. We're up to number 2, the big board of the NBA All-Star Bleakend with the professor.
Number 2 centers around the dunk contest. And man, there's a lot of ways we can go with the dunk contest. It could be Nate Robinson missing 37 dunks before finally hitting one and being declared the winner, because everybody was so amazed that a 5'10" guy who was built like a Volkswagen Beetle somehow managed to win the dunk contest. It could be any of the years where Dwight Howard went, where we were supposed to be impressed that a 7-foot guy could dunk. Again, he was a great dunker, but come on, you're 7 feet tall. It could be Tom Chambers, where everybody was amazed that a 6'10" white guy could dunk. But no, there is a particular moment in the dunk contest that stands out in the low, and it's not just because he missed the dunk. It was when Michael Finley tried to do the cartwheel dunk, and we all discovered that not only could he not make the dunk, but he couldn't do a cartwheel. I don't even know what you would call this, a quarter wheel, a wheelbarrow.
It's ugly. That looks like my version of it.
It's like when an 8-year-old does a cartwheel.
Yeah. I was never good at tumbling in gym class.
Cartwheel. And again, if you watch Michael Finley's career, he's an incredibly athletic dude. He's also an incredibly athletic dude who had clearly never tried to do a cartwheel before this moment. Because if he had practiced this, all his teammates would have reacted the exact same way all the All-Stars reacted, which is just laugh hysterically at him. And his total inability to do a move that every 7-year-old girl on the planet has already mastered somehow.
Yeah, that looks like the tumbling class at Yeshiva. And that's the demonstration.
Exactly.
All right, everybody, now try this. Excellent. The dunk contest. What do you think about the kid that won the thing? That disproving, that white men can't jump. I mean, this kid had incredible hang time.
Again, if you're familiar at all with Matt McClung from Georgetown or Texas Tech, you already knew this. There's been clips of him since he was in high school, doing ridiculous dunks. But really, your clue would have been when the NBA made the 76ers give this kid a contract just so he could be in the dunk contest.
That was great. Yeah,
they went around the league like, who owes us? You have to sign Matt McClung
You.
so he can be in the dunk contest and we can have somebody try. Look, the dunks were ridiculous. He can't play at all, at least not at the NBA level. There's a reason he was in the G League 30 minutes before the dunk contest started. But no, as a couple of people observed, if they went to all these shenanigans to put him in the contest, you knew he was going to be a ridiculous dunker. So it's not like a shock. Again, the dunk contest, Lubie and I were talking about the other day. Nobody cares how good a dunker Matt McClung is. Like you want to see the stars dunk, and I don't know what's so hard about this and why stars don't want to do the dunk contest anymore. It doesn't make. I mean, look, if Luka Doncic doesn't want to do the dunk contest, I get it. But it's not like there aren't a bunch of ridiculously athletic stars who can do the contest.
People want to see
for some
LeBron,
reason refuse to.
Sure.
Giannis, Zion. Hey, come on.
All right, that's number 2, the cartwheel dunk, and this is number 1 of the
we
NBA
couldn't avoid
All-Star
controversy,
weekend.
but if there is a worst moment of NBA All-Star Weekend, I think it's pretty clear. The NBA All-Star Game managed to hang on for a few years after this, but was there a low moment in the NBA All-Star Game? Yep. It's the AIDS game.
Oh, no.
Oh man, you know what?
The AIDS game, from where you see in the picture here, nobody on the Eastern Conference roster wanted to be within 6 feet of Magic Johnson. No matter how close he got to get. The only exception, as has been observed, was Dennis Rodman, who got right up in his face. He's like, I fucked Madonna. They don't even have words for what I have. I'll go up to. I'll let you spit in my mouth. I don't care how much. But as you
people were worried about the Schwitz transmission.
As you can see from Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley, as Magic goes right through the middle of the lane. Nobody else wanted to touch Magic. Nobody else wanted to be near Magic's infected blood at this point.
Yeah.
And everybody else. Honestly, I'm surprised Barkley didn't come out in a hazmat suit for this game. You watch the highlights. Barkley was the most physical player in the league. Didn't want to be on the same side of the court as Magic Johnson, who came back and won the MVP while
everything,
playing with AIDS. Magic Johnson, who, I don't know, has magic blood. If you watch the series The Last of Us, I'm convinced the story about the little girl is actually about Magic Johnson and AIDS. Because we're like 22 years later, Magic Johnson's still healthier than he's ever been.
Yeah.
Oh, remission. He never turned to AIDS, and he's like the only one of the rare cases that went to like remission, which is not even a thing for fucking HIV.
Yeah.
Again,
whoever that German doctor was that was working with him, I mean, how is he not winning the Nobel
Magic
Science
Johnson
Prize?
somehow is to AIDS what Lance Armstrong lied about being with cancer. Like, I got cancer, got better. Magic Johnson actually did get AIDS and get healthier somehow. I don't understand it.
No, that was, I remember that, and everybody was worried because at that point, people thought literally you could get it just from having somebody schwitz in your eyeball.
Yep.
Again, I don't know that anybody actually.
I don't know that Magic was Moses Malone in that category, but I mean, I don't remember him being like, bone dry.
I feel like scientists actually didn't feel like that at that point, but like nobody else really understood that, which again leads to this picture as an example. Nobody in the NBA, even Isaiah Thomas, stayed like 6 feet away from him at this point.
Nobody wanted to go near this guy.
Nope.
I remember that. and it set the precedent for the way defenses played in these games.
Pretty much,
as you mentioned, the Kardashians, had they been on the floor, could have played better defense than we saw in the NBA
the other day.
game.
He was like, guys used to play a little bit of defense, at least at the end of the game. Where did that start? That stopped playing the token defense. It was the AIDS game. Like, again, everybody stayed the hell away from, and it was celebrated as a great moment. He came back. He did, led people with AIDS or whatever it is. I don't know what it was that Magic was supposed to prove there. But yeah, that was where the absolutely no defense thing started, and then it has lasted for the next 20 some odd years.
It's become tradition like no another. Yeah, I mean, you need Jim Nantz calling the game. Beautiful stuff, Professor. Thank you. That was brilliant. And considering you had to shelf the other thing due to the serious nature of what was transpiring there, because that's often overlooked, right? I don't think Greg Byrne, the athletic director of Alabama, ever said, "Oh, by the way, there's a dead woman here."
Again,
one of our other players shot the woman, but we have no problem with that.
Look, everybody is jumping on the player, is jumping on Oates, the coach.
Yeah.
I think their behavior is somewhat understandable. Players want to play. Coaches want their best play available. The one that mystifies me is that before the game the other night, they consulted the school president, and the school president was, "Oh yeah, he can play."
Oh.
I got money on this game. Yeah,
exactly.
I got a prop bet that he hits for 43. Yeah.
If your son or daughter goes to University of Alabama and is not a student athlete, like, how are you okay with this? Like, honestly, the president of the school is basically saying, "Yeah, he can murder your kid because your
dropped
kid's
off the murder weapon."
Yeah. Yes.
That's nice. Yeah. Well, but he did go for 41. I mean, he was 14 of 25 from the field. I mean, that was a brilliant.
I think that's irrelevant to the question. Nobody's questioning that he's a great player. Again,
I was being facetious. Yeah.
If this were some bench scrub, he would have been kicked off the team 30
Well, I
seconds
mean, imagine
later.
a regular student. I mean, is involved in an incident like this. Do you think they're still attending classes, or do they at least say, "Hey, listen, why don't you just get out of here until we figure out what happened here"? And it wouldn't have been unfair to the person, even if they were completely innocent, which I don't know how, like you said, how can you be completely innocent if you brought a gun? If you call me and said, "Hey, Defo, can you bring me your loaded gun?" If I had one, would I not be initially inclined to say, "Geez, Professor, what do you need it for? What are you planning on doing with it?"
I mean, again, Defo, if you call me and say,
At 2 in the morning,
I need
Blood
a gun.
brothers, no questions asked, but I would have to question it.
If it's 4:30 in the afternoon, I might say, okay, well, maybe Defo wants to shoot some skeet or go to the range or whatever.
Yeah, there's an iguana out there on the ledge. Yeah, taking a shit.
If it's 1:30 in the morning, I'm be like, no, I'm not dropping off a gun at your house at 1:30.
Yeah.
Call me in the morning and we can talk about it. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Let's at least wait till the sun comes up before we make this transaction. All right, we got to run, Professor. Great stuff as always. We'll see you tonight at the fights at Hialeah Park.
You have a great one, Dave.
All right, thanks a lot. The Professor, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go right to it here. We'll just keep rolling here with Mike Mayo because we have Ron Rothstein coming up in about 15 minutes here on the show. And then Ian Eagle at 9 o'clock. We'll go into a little overtime. So there he is, the man that has worked out a scheme that I think is unparalleled in terms of the schnorrability of it. We're eating, never mind, what might be considered marginal pay for, the amount of effort that goes into it. But if you're getting paid to eat, this has been your thing. You discovered this at the paper and have managed now to sort of manufacture it into, its own, ongoing entrepreneurial enterprise where we're getting fed stone crabs for lunch. Yesterday.
Yeah, well, no, at the paper, there was strict morals and ethics clauses, and I couldn't accept freebies when I was the food writer. I had a company gold card, which came in very
essentially made it a freebie for you, though.
Yeah, I mean, but it was on the company. I wasn't going out, trying to, schnorr from different establishments. That would be untoward. But
you didn't call Pat Utter before you came in and said, those wings I had last time were fantastic, Pat.
No, we didn't do that when I was in a newspaper because journalists have the highest in morals and ethics. However, now when you become an entrepreneur and you're basically working in partnerships with people, and part of the partnership is I have to give, my professional advice. I'm a consultant. That's how I build myself. Besides being a communications specialist and podcaster, and
well, this 100,000 that you're about to hit there with Let's Eat South Florida doesn't hurt, the attractiveness of being a part of the Mike Mayo sponsor package.
That just happens to be part of the the package. But when you say the word scheme back in the newsroom, when that was one of those words that you wouldn't use in a story because it has these nefarious and criminal implications, and we're not doing it. We're not doing anything criminal.
It's service that Mike Mayo provides.
Although, how did you work that out yesterday?
What's great
Doug, it was fantastic.
The service, can't you get some chicken? They had fried chicken. They had dip. No, the service has to be the first time out there. A fucking thing of stone crabs, their best shrimp. And the freaking dip, just the mustard alone isn't cheap because that's like top-notch mustard. That's the service he provides.
I can't help that if maybe I drop some hints like, wow, it'd be kind of nice for the big welcome show to have the big, it's the height of stone crab season. And Doug Carter himself.
I have to say, those were great. They were great.
And Doug Carter himself says that the stone crab has been very, very good to him. So,
no doubt.
Why not share the wealth? And
what do you think? Fantastic. I mean, I know you're a fan of it, so you would go ahead and say spend the money if if it's worth it to you. Then obviously any amount is okay. But I mean, to the average person out there, once trying some stone crabs and they get the large, which figured out to be about $10 a claw.
Right. These
Now,
days,
it's not like it's a great value, compared to maybe some other things that you could have that would be similar. But what do you think about that? $10 a claw.
no, it's pricey compared to what
Yeah.
it used to be. I mean, I remember when I would go into Delaware when I first came down here, and medium claws were $7.99 a pound, and
Yeah.
large were like
I
$12.99
used to get a
$13.99.
5-pound bag off a guy
So
who, was one of those guys that distributes them, and we had access to them. And a 5-pound bag was $15 for either large, not large, but
mediums, or
no, larger than that. I mean,
the
what's
jumbos?
Yeah, jumbos. Yeah, they were
Okay, well,
jumbos.
back then the Subway was a nickel too, Defo. Times have
No,
changed.
this wasn't. I mean, it was probably 15 years ago, but
Not
I mean, the
15,
price
though.
has
We're talking
escalated
30.
exponentially. Yeah.
Now it's even 15 years ago it had started going up because again the way the world works, like they were explaining yesterday, the demand increased. The technology is such that people can be shipped and overnight on dry ice and enjoy stone crabs pretty much anywhere. So, as that has opened up the the demand side, the supply side has stayed the same or actually gone down. So, it's just simple economics that the price is shot up. Is it worth it? It depends. If I'm next to
I guess
somebody
special
who's
occasion, maybe.
no,
You
if
might
somebody
consider 'em,
else is paying, it's always worth it.
Oh, that was great. Yes,
Out of
sir.
my own
I had no
out of my
problem
own
with it.
pocket, like you
Yeah.
say, it's become. I used to have stone crab when I first came down here because I loved them. I
Yeah.
would have them every other week. But now it's become a 2 or 3 time a year
Yeah, everybody used to
proposition.
buy them frequently.
The beginning of the season to celebrate the end of hurricane season, usually for the Feast of the Seven Fishes and Christmas or New Year's, one or the other, not both. And then usually one more time before the end of the season. It's no longer Valentine's Day because I got nobody I'm sharing my stone crabs with on Valentine's Day. But
That's going to change, though. I foresee something happening romantically for you this year. I do.
I don't. My
You're
urologist
heading in
does
this
either.
direction. Yeah. I don't know that you want to show her your medical report, on the first date, which you're inclined to do. I mean, you're very open about that. But
Hey, meanwhile, I'm a
maybe
little
to a
miffed.
fault. Yes.
I'm
What's
a
the
little
matter?
miffed. I'm a little miffed.
Yes.
I don't think I ever got a formal invite to the boxing tonight.
Oh, do you want to
so
go?
I don't know
You're
if,
invited. I didn't. I
no,
thought,
I'm not going to.
I thought there was no way you would go. That's why I made a assumption.
No, if you would have said a couple of weeks ago, and I would have planned it.
Because I figured you were dining somewhere with Dickstein. You're always busy on a
that
Friday.
I knew that Leslie Visser was going to be there.
Well, we didn't know that till yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's always any.
You should come. I mean, we actually have one extra ticket.
That would be nice, but I'm actually have a prior arrangement. Me and my daughter are going to see the movie event of the season tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Cocaine Bear. And I can't believe the professor didn't discuss this because I thought he would have been all over this. And I've got to just tell your audience, I mean, this not only is it Ray Liotta's, I guess, unfortunate swan song, his last role before he kicked.
What does he play? The bear? Or,
no, he plays, I guess, I don't even know what he plays. I guess.
I mean, the trailers for the movie, to me, look completely ridiculous. I would have no inclination to want to go see
100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is a tough-ass grader, and it's 100%. Like, it's actually not only just amazing in the idea, it's actually a good movie. Which is
wow. Right.
Well, the when I clicked on and I saw yesterday, it was down to about 89%. So I guess some more people are seeing the movie. But it's just something I can't resist because just the disparity in opinion so far. And this is Cocaine Bear we're talking about. It just come out today, supposedly based on true events about a bear in the wilderness outside Nashville, Tennessee, where apparently some bale of cocaine dropped out of a plane and the bear,
a dream come true.
So here's the kind of disparity in the review so far. A reviewer that was on Google said 10 out of 10 best movie of all time. I have never been more excited to be seeing a bear do cocaine in my life. Purely amazing movie, and I would love to see it 400 plus times in the cinema. And then right next to it is a 1-star review saying exaggerations, couple of good jokes, obvious interpretation of events, not the best spent 90 minutes of my life. And then you can also see it in the professional reviewers. USA Today's headline was Cocaine Bear review. Just say yes to this fun, coked out carnage. while The Guardian.
There's a liberal-minded person making that review.
And then actually it was another review.
Oh, and Rex Reed have said about this.
Professional review says Cocaine Bear is just above worst movie ever territory. So this is like the Tropical Acres of movies. I don't know which it is. Is it like the best movie of all time?
Gene Shalit, man, probably would have
worst movie ever created, and only time will tell. And I would think this is one of the ones that I would want to be either inhaling an 8-ball before the movie, or
which now you could, and it wouldn't have that much impact on you because it would be fairly easy to give it up at this point. I would have to think.
Yeah, no, and I'm in a little bit of. First of all, I got to apologize because the stone crabs. I didn't realize I was just like ravenous.
You ate like 11 of them. There were like 12 on the platter.
Because I'm on these steroids now for this whole bronchitis thing, and I was just in kind of auto.
You inhaled them. You ate one without cracking,
and it was like, we're off the air. We don't have any signal. I don't care. I just kept going. Yeah, going, and next thing I know, it's pathetic. I mean, Lubie only had one. And he had none to bring home.
I had one for the
none
Mustang.
for sure.
She laughed at me. She mocked me. You know what? We both looked at each other and said, "Mayo." It's like Deo, Mayo, and we know what happened there. You either handled all of the stuff, and so we just threw it out, or ate most of it. But no, you were all right. You chowed down about 5 or 6 of them. It wasn't bad.
Good. They were good. That was a good lunch.
That was great.
The two of you did pretty well. It was.
I ate like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah,
you were there. What are you going to do? I wasn't mad. I just thought it was funny.
So I had nothing to handicap this week.
I thought you were going into the Masters here.
No, I was talking about the Honda Classic because you were mentioning it earlier this week, and it has been the Jewish tribes, the lost tribes of PGA Tour events. Because I've got the full list here. It's gone from Invery to TPC Eagle Trace. Okay. And then Greg Norman blasted it as Carnival Golf and said he would never return, and a lot of pros hated that course. Then they went to Weston Hills Country Club.
Okay.
And that actually did well. That was Marino's home course, and a lot of people like playing it. Then it went to TPC Heron Bay, also known as the worst course ever designed.
I played that course.
All these sand traps. Nothing. Yeah. It's like you're in the middle of the Mojave Desert, or the Sahara, and meanwhile, it's like
they gave you a camel instead of a golf cart. Yeah, I mean, you would just get on a camel and ride around the sand.
Did that. They went back to Eagle Trace. Then they went to Mirasol up in Palm Beach County. Then Mirasol didn't do too well either. It was kind of a garbage course. So they ended up at PGA National, the championship course there, known for the Bear Trap, which is like the final 3 holes that designed by Jack Nicklaus. And they seem to have found a home there, and I'm glad. Yeah. And I also want to give props. My former colleague, Randy Mell, this week was honored there.
I saw that.
Honda Classic, given the Tim Rosafort Award, and of course,
one of your other contemporaries.
My late, I can't believe it's been over a year since Tim's passing, and he was hit with early onset Alzheimer's dementia, really tragic. But Tim, beloved in the golf community, and a
sharp guy.
They named an award after him. He was the golf writer at the Sun Sentinel before I came there. He went to the Palm Beach Post and then on to bigger and better things, and Golf Channel and NBC Sports and all that. But congrats to Randy. He went from the Sun Sentinel to the Golf Channel, and then also retired a couple of years ago. And you know what I did? I wanted to see him, but I was stricken by the bronchitis. I told Randy, he was visiting his son, lives down here now in Fort Lauderdale area. I told Randy on Wednesday night after he got the award, I wanted to meet him badly. He told me to stay away because his wife has COPD. But he went. I sent him to Cafe Seville, and I hooked him up with Joey.
And get out of here! And you paid the tab?
No, I didn't pay the tab.
I thought you gave Joey your credit card. Yeah.
I should have done that.
That would have been the move. That would have been the move.
But I just told Joey he was coming in there. I told Randy to go in there. He sat at the bar. He was by himself. His wife didn't make the trip, but he had a fantastic meal.
Great.
He just was sending me pictures after pictures, and he was impressed. And Joey said he took care of him, so he must have, complimented the drink and the appetizer and the tres leche cake. But
I love when Joey calls that out. He goes, garlic shrimp over here, mushrooms over there, and he just goes around the room giving people stuff.
We love Joey. All right, I know you got a full load.
Well, we got Ronnie Rothstein coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you at Gulfstream. I have a restaurant. It's one of your choices that you gave me yesterday. It's a seafood place for Lent. So
because you made a face at a couple of them, but not because they were bad suggestions, just because you had a particularly difficult time with maybe.
And I'm going with I'm going with the one that has a horse racing angle, believe it or not. One that actually had a horse named after the restaurant that won a race in Dubai one time. I don't know if you
Nice.
remember that.
Oh, very nice, my friend. Very nice.
So we'll do that at Gulfstream at 12 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of the show. Lubie, I'll see you at there about 11:30.
We'll see you there.
All right, sounds good. You're welcome to the fights tonight too, Mike Mayo. Okay.
He
All right.
wasn't-
Want to take a break and then join Ron Rothstein, or you want to just get right into it? What do you want to do, Lubie?
That's a
I'll give you a minute to set this up. All right. So we're going to come back in a moment with Ron Rothstein, now the color analyst on the Heat broadcast, talk a little NBA basketball with Ron. And then after that, 9 o'clock, we're sticking with you for a while, as probably spend about 15, 20 minutes with Ian Eagle.
Yes.
The voice of virtually everything on CBS, TNT, the Brooklyn Nets Broadcasting Network. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this guy, because there's so many different things that have transpired that he's been involved with. And I would imagine, did he do the radio call at a Super Bowl? Oh, no, that was Hollering Kevin Harlan, I think.
No, that
was on that. Yeah.
On Westwood One, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't.
Oh, and he's a year away from doing the Final Four. This is it. Swan song for Nance. So the footsteps are, more than being heard by Nance. He's ready to just say, hey, listen, I know Eagle's coming. I'm not going to fight it. All right, so that's coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll be right back with Ron Rothstein in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:45.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Tremendous as always, and as with anything that you're associated with, Armin Contain, infused with brilliance. Can't wait to see it. I didn't get a chance to catch it on Sunday night. I saw the promos for it on HBO and wanted to make a note to be sure and tune in. I'm going to watch it.
Well, you got to get cable, Defo. You got to get.
Well, the motel I'm in, since I had these problems with my wife, you're lucky they even have a
trailer
TV.
park doing? Is it okay? You're moving between the trailer park and the hotel now. What's going on?
Well, I'm pretty much back where I started in Ontario, California, while you've moved on from the Escondido Times.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, they're back in action tonight. The Miami Heat going to take the court after the All-Star break. We had the brilliant dissertation by the professor earlier in the program where he was talking about the NBA All-Star Bleakend and some of the things that weren't necessarily so flattering that had taken place during the All-Star weekend. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz, we welcome to the show among our favorites, and we love this guy. Fantastic, original coach of the Miami Heat, now doing color analysis and post-game, mid-game, and all kinds of different stuff. He's great with the telestrator. Fratello, I mean, forget about it. He was nothing, man, an amateur. Looked like Tex Antoine compared to this guy when it comes to illustrating plays. We welcome to the show the coach, Ron Rothstein, joins us here on the program. Ron, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Defo. How you doing?
Good morning, Coach.
I'm doing great because it's terrific. I'm not the sharpest guy, as you probably deduced from our many interviews that we've had over the years. But who did the math on the second half of the season here? We're now talking about, wow, it's great. We'll see what happens in the second half, and like the season's over. What was the deal with the All-Star game being like at the 3/4 mark of the year?
It's called progress.
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd, doesn't it?
Well, it used to be, it's gotten later and later. It used to be probably after the All-Star break, we had about 35 games left.
Yep.
Yeah.
35 to 37. And now there's 20, 23 or something like that. So
I would imagine part of it is trying to make the schedule less demanding, but that doesn't really make any sense. So I'm grappling at it.
Yeah, I mean, especially with this load management being a big issue now, and Adam Silver screaming, "You guys got to play! You got to play!"
Yep.
And everybody's trying to figure out, what to do about that. Whether to play less games, space them out more. You would think that it would be good to get a break in the middle of the season. That might help because I would imagine. I mean, having coached so many different teams in the NBA over a long span of time, either as a head coach or an assistant. I mean, how tired is everybody at this point? I mean, what really, how can you, get your team to play top level basketball the remainder of the season, which is obviously important for positioning in the postseason or making it all together, and then have something left? I mean, how lifeless are the legs at this stage of the year in the NBA?
You keep telling yourself you're tired. You're tired.
Yeah.
Look, most of it, to me, everybody has some kind of an injury. Something's hurting. It's a grind. There's no getting away from it. That's what you get paid for.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you sign up for. All right. Now, does it make sense to play if you're really hurting? Probably not. But today, as each year goes by, less and less number of players. The number of players play all 82 games keeps shrinking. And people forget that the great ones, I can't tell you, in his 18 or 20-year career, Kareem played over 80 games, I think, 14 times.
Yeah.
Look, it used to be a badge of honor to play every game. It was important. And now the focus has changed. It's different. It's health, be at your optimum. The bottom line is, with so much money invested in these guys, there's more care. There's more concern. That's the bottom line. That's just reality. That's human nature.
Look, Coach, and that's the thing. We know it comes down to the money, and I was just going to say that it's more money for the players are worth more. The players cost more. We know more about health and wellness. 100%. Look at LeBron. He spends $1 million a year. The dude's 38 playing like he was 25. Totally understand that. But they also get lots and lots of money from television contracts to televise games. And if a quarter of the games, you're not going to get a star, why am I watching? So like at some point, it feels like there's got to be a middle ground here where, yes, if you're hurt, obviously you're not going to play. But it's not COVID. What does that mean? Like, I don't know, like the just sitting guys, the sick guys, it feels like there's got to be rubber meets the road somewhere where you get a little bit more than, a guy plays 65. Look at him.
Look, I don't think this is as much a basketball issue as I think it's a human nature issue. Okay? If the money keeps rolling in from the TV contracts and sponsorships and everything else, and people are willing to pay, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
That's just the way I look at it. I mean, I've been around a few decades.
Yeah.
And how that works.
Yeah.
It's just human nature, and you can't really blame. It's just the way it is. So, like someone said to me the other day, "What do you do? How do you get this thing under control?" I said, "Well, the whole thing fails and you start over again."
Honestly,
it might take
scares me.
pulling in a rug.
Look, what you're seeing, I still see a lot of really, really competitive, high level, exciting basketball. And then there's some that's not so exciting, but I think you've always had that. You've always had the more skilled teams, the better teams, the teams that are more playing for more, so to speak. I think you've always had that. I think some of this is just blown out of proportion because we have so much more coverage today.
Yeah.
But today's players are highly skilled, very well trained, and the vast majority of them want to win. They want to do well. They want to show up. They want to play.
Yeah.
They don't want to miss. But there's a bit of a different mindset, and it creeps in.
Ron Rothstein, our guest here on the Defo Show on South Florida Live. I thought of you, Coach, during the All-Star game because I was watching the beginning of it, and then I kind of lost interest a little bit. But had you brought in, a defense like that and demonstrated it when you were with the Bad Boy Pistons to Chuck Daly and said, "Hey, here's what I think we ought to go with." I mean, what would the conversation have gone like? Coming back from Chuck.
You and I would not be sitting here talking now.
I mean, did they think about putting the Kardashians in to play some token pressure? I mean, at least in the Y back in the days, or at the place where you were playing as a kid, you didn't feel like banging around with each other. You're playing maybe some 1-on-1, and you would say, "Hey, token pressure."
Yeah, you put the hand up.
But I mean, what happened to that?
It used to be. I can remember I coached in an All-Star game in, I think, 2005, 4, or whatever it was. And the game started, and the 10 guys on the court were going through the motions.
Yeah.
Not as bad as what we saw the other night, because I would have to agree with Michael Malone's statement about worst game ever seen.
Yeah, well.
We're just standing.
It was
worst game ever. Think about that.
Watching like it was a dunk contest.
I think all-star players should be ashamed.
Yep.
Wow.
It's just me.
Yep.
But I'm old.
You're old school like I am. Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing. I can remember this one All-Star game, and the game started, and there's 10 guys out there, and they're going through the motions. They're not playing really hard, except for one guy. One guy is like crazed out.
Oh, Kobe.
He's playing like it's the finals.
Right.
It's Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
Yeah.
And I turned to, I believe it was 2004, and I was in Indiana, and I was assistant to Rick Carlisle. And I turned to Rick and I said, "What's up, Kobe?" And,
Cocaine Bear, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't see the play anymore. I'm with you. Take some pride in what you're doing.
I remember the first All-Star game I went to as an assistant coach, and remember great players playing. I mean, they wanted to win. They played hard.
Yeah, at least you'd see some fourth quarter defense. A quick thought, Coach, on Kevin Love coming to the Heat. What does that do for him? How much of an asset can he be? And can the Heat overcome the top 3 teams in the East right now, which look to be very much on a parallel, and yet seem to be at a level a little bit above the rest of the Eastern Conference?
As far as trying to get into the top 3, surpassing one of those 3 teams, that's not realistic.
Right.
Can we be better? And can we peak going into the playoffs, being healthy and playing at our best? With the addition of Kevin Love and Cody Zeller, the answer is yes, potentially. Cody hasn't played a whole lot in over a year, so that's an issue. But one thing, he'll have fresh legs, and he's an energy guy. He's an effort guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So the potential he can help. Kevin Love hasn't played in a while. He's injured for a while. He got injured. He played hurt and dropped out of the rotation, and then he never got back in. Kevin Love at his peak, excuse me, was a definite all-star performer.
Yeah.
Great rebounder, really good outside shooter, stretched the floor, good three-point shooter, great shooter from the corner threes, which we take more corner threes, I think, than anybody else in the league. Well, that's the spot where we shoot the most threes from. High IQ guy, terrific passer, great outlet passer. If he's game ready and he's healthy, there's no question he can help us. He never was a great defender, but I think he was inadequate defender. One of the things they did in Cleveland with him, defensively, Cleveland's scheme is they switched everything. I think it's unfair to a guy like Kevin Love to be switching everything and put him out on the floor against the guards in today's NBA. That's like recipe for failure. You can overcome that. You can scheme. You can do different things rather than switch. So potentially, I think those two guys definitely help us. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. One last thing, if you don't mind, Coach. I mean, do you have any insight into what kind of favor the Philadelphia 76ers owed the league to sign McClung right before the slam dunk competition? And, can you believe this kid? I don't know if he can do anything else, man, but he's a hell of a dunker. And, all of a sudden out of nowhere, he gets a 10-day contract and signs so he could be in a dunk, which was going to be a brick unless this kid was in there.
Well, I saw him play in college. He's a pretty good player.
Yeah, he was a good
college. All right. Okay. So he has some other skills there.
Really hard. Yeah. And I don't know how he was playing in the G League, but I suspect he was doing well. But he's a very competitive kid.
Yeah.
He really is. And I think he's got some skills. So, just maybe he has a chance. But, they're pretty good in the backcourt. They got a few guys that are really, really good players. But he's probably, and I don't know this, but there's a good chance he's a good prospect as a developmental player.
All right. Yeah. I mean, he sure can dunk.
Yeah.
And I guess that's been his MO. He's been popular on social media for a long time, going back to high school. I never heard of him. I thought they dragged him out of the stands. I actually thought it was a guy from the Celebrity Game that they put a Sixer jersey on.
I read something the other day. I find it hard to believe that I read that he's a protege of yours.
I fit the old cliche that you couldn't slip a piece of loose leaf notebook paper underneath my vertical leap. I'm a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, Coach. I mean, we were happy to dunk a golf ball on a 9-foot basket. That was a sense of accomplishment for us. I wasn't exactly Moses Malone under the bucket there. Thanks as always, Coach. It was a pleasure and always great insight into everything. I always appreciate you coming on the show, and good luck in the second half of the season here with the 22 games left.
All right, guys. All the best. Take care.
Have a good
All
weekend.
right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Comparing McClung to my vertical leaping ability is very suspect.
You openly
I can't jump. I mean, I'm a horrible jumper. Really. I mean, when they broke out like the high jump apparatus, they brought out like, track and field stuff.
Yeah.
Track, I was okay at some things. Field, forget about it. I sucked at field. I don't know how Bruce Jenner did it, man. Won the decathlon. Jim Tomey, man. Going all the way back, some of the greats. I don't know. Jay Fiedler, for God's sake.
Yeah,
decathlon.
Triathlon or whatever the hell, yeah.
The high jump was always embarrassing, though. I mean,
I never had to do it, thank God, because I would have been a total disaster.
Even when the Fosbury flop came out and you could go over the bar backwards. Couldn't jump. I actually wasn't the worst rebounder. I mean, I wasn't a great rebounder, but I could grab a few rebounds because I had a big ass. Kind of like in the movie Heat, because she's got a big ass. No, it's great ass that Pacino screamed.
Yes.
But I would stick my ass in the balls of whoever it was that I was trying to box out. I mean, and I wasn't afraid to bang it,
And it's uncomfortable, so you move out of the way.
To say that basketball is not a physical game is a blatant.
Oh, it's 100%.
Blatant, understatement and misnomer. All right, Ian Eagle coming up in just a second here, and that's always fun for us. Ian Eagle accommodating us, and going to go a little overtime here on the show. So stick around if you just joined us, as I saw a couple of people did. Our good friend Juan. Stick around. You're in for a treat here as Ian Eagle joins us next year on the Defo Show, and we'll take it a little past our usual 9 o'clock departure. We'll be out at the track later on today with Mike Mayo. He's got another contest working to win a brunch for two. It's a fantastic prize at 10 Palms Restaurant. A great way to take in the races. I mean, you couldn't feel like you're in any more luxury, man. It's like you're going to the box there with Todd Pletcher and the owner of the favorite to win the Kentucky Derby. You're sitting up there in just complete luxury. It's great. And being fed an enormous amount of food to choose from. And all you can eat, they don't rush you out of there, right? It's not one of those things. You've been here 4 hours. I was going to do the accent, but I don't want to get in trouble anymore with Joanne.
No, don't do that.
It does seem like I have some anti-Asian position. I do not.
You're not the only one. I made sure that day to clarify it on not only the chat, but via words. And when you first said it, I sort of half laughed. I was like, oh my God, how racist is this guy? But the fact
it's not racist at all. I mean, it's just fact.
Every degenerate, of every kind, of every level has the same opinion. It is a widely known theory, and I don't mind you saying it.
Saying that you can get a good burrito in Mexico is not racist.
No.
I mean, but I don't know why people get so bent out of shape. But saying that the Asian dealer, female Asian dealer, is always the cooler in any casino.
It's sort of known, yes.
It's true. PHU are the three ugliest letters that you could possibly see on a name tag if you're playing blackjack. I'm sorry. Cambodia, Laos, any of these places, hey, how is it over there? Vietnam, I mean, you get all kinds of, as soon as they bring that woman over, that's it. They know you the table's laughing, high-fiving everybody. You're making out with the chick you didn't even know was sitting next to you, throwing $100 chips in the air, giving all your friends money, and then all of a sudden, let's quiet down, people. Here comes food.
Was like in class.
Like Nurse Ratchet just walked in with the medication. I don't want it today. All right, we're coming back with Ian Eagle in just a moment. Now that. 9:05. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Good to have you with us here on the program, and it's always a pleasure to welcome this gentleman to the show. Kind of distinguishes the program quite a bit over the usual .com schminks that we used to have as guests on the show. This guy is brilliant, the great Ian Eagle.
I really appreciate the kind words, but I don't want to be put above any kind of .com schmank. I want to be judged on the same plane as any of the .com schmanks that you've had on earlier this week. I consider myself a tremendous schmank.
Welcome back to the Defo Show here on 940 Sports.
Yeah, that was good that you trying to bleep that out there. 940 wins, because we're here in South Florida Live, and it's a pleasure. We do a little overtime here, and there are only certain people we would extend the hours of this program to accommodate, but because this man has been willing, and I don't know why, it defies all logic, to accommodate our many interview requests. And it's not like he isn't busy, right? Ian Eagle joins us here.
I said to him, I literally was do you have any? Oh, wait, no, you have 7 or 8 games this weekend.
Yeah. What aren't you calling this weekend? Are you doing any XFL? Ian Eagle? How are you, my friend? Are you familiar with the Brahmas lineup? Who's their quarterback and what characteristics he can display that might lead to an NFL contract?
We need to alert the affiliates. We might be going over.
Yeah. there's a lot on the agenda here. It's great. All right, so you have some games coming up. You're going to be calling UConn and St. John's. St. John's, huh? I mean, they're already ready to, fire the coach. They think they need to move on. In fact, I believe Luke Harnaseka has been contacted about a possible comeback. And UConn's one of those teams that's kind of coming on a little bit. Do we see something happening here, or maybe that they maybe are a live sleeper to go somewhere in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think it speaks to the bigger picture where the unpredictable nature of college basketball this year.
Yeah.
If you're UConn, you say, why not? If this team goes on a run, gets it rolling a little bit, think about how many games they're going to be playing at MSG based on this game against St. John's and then the Big East tournament. UConn seems to thrive in that environment. They get crowds that back them up, a lot of crazy Husky fans in the tri-state area. And they're good. They had it rolling early in the season. They took a dip during Big East play, but Sonogo is a big-time player, and Jordan Hawkins has come around. This kid, Tristan Newton, who's a transfer from East Carolina, he continues to put up numbers. They've got freshmen and Alex Caravan and Donovan Klingon. I just want to show that I did prep for this game.
Man, you almost ticked off Deron Sheffer in his points per game average when he was playing in the 90s with UConn. Great. One guy from Israel.
They have NFL. They have Deron Schaefer. They're stacked.
It's great having you on the program, and then you're doing Brooklyn and Atlanta, and Brooklyn. That there was nothing unusual that happened there this year. The Brooklyn Nets had to be just an absolute song and a dance to follow throughout the season.
Yeah, things have changed since the last. I don't know if you guys got the headlines down there in Florida, but yeah. Kyrie not on the team. KD not on the team.
Yes.
Yeah. So there have been some subtle adjustments made on the roster.
I mean, do you need to buy a scorecard now when you come in to do the Nets games? Usually, if you're calling a team on a regular basis, as you know your own guys. I mean, you don't really have to study it that much.
Yeah.
You might have to brush up on the other team.
The big thing about play-by-play guys, you'll hear it time and time again. They talk about their boards. That's a big part of what we do. Your boards. You're very protective of your boards. You're constantly making adjustments to your boards. And what that really equates to for the layman is it's all your prep work. You're putting all your prep work down on paper, and everybody is different. Every play-by-play announcer is different.
Yeah.
How they process information, how they need a nugget or a note in the moment. Where can they find it? Can they get it quickly and then get it on the air? So when you talk about play-by-play people, when you make big changes on a roster, you feverishly change your board. You're ripping things off. You're pasting. You're scratching things off. Color codes.
Yeah.
So I did have to make some changes to my Nets board. I'm good. I'm all prepared now. We've got all the new guys in there. I've had to make some changes for some games coming up. I have Memphis and the Lakers on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
You heard about the Lakers. They also. So, again, it's like crossing things out. It's putting an overlay on another guy. And I'm erasing. It's a fun deal.
I could see you going Bruce Lee and just taking a karate chop to the board there, right in front of Josiah and saying, what the hell's going on out there? All right, Libby's got something for you here, Ryan.
Well, I remember when they were the Nets a few years ago, they were still in that Defo would mock them, and you would laugh at Defo and say, look, they're coming. And Marks is doing a really good job. And this is not the same old Nets. They're now the Brooklyn Nets, and they are coming. And it seemed like fans liked them. And Marks wasn't stressing. And I felt like they were building something. And then new ownership came and said, we're going to go big. And we saw how that didn't work. It feels like they sort of went back to that thing that Marks was comfortable with, younger guys that aren't me, that aren't ego, that are playing really well.
Yeah.
Like in some weird way, are they better off? Because it feels like everyone fits in a way that they didn't before.
Yeah, I think it's a very good summation, Lubie, of where they were, what happened, and now where they are. They had to swing for the fences when the opportunity presented itself. When Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving tell you, literally, this is how it happened. At 12:01 on the day of free agency, when you're allowed to talk to free agents officially, they were told that KD and Kyrie want to pair up and they're going to play for the Nets. And they didn't have any kind of presentation, sit down, meal. Let's discuss the culture. Let's go through our whole plan. None of that took place. It was, do you want them or not? Because if you don't, they'll go somewhere else.
Oh, geez.
And the answer was, give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So that's really how the relationship was born. And in many ways, it's how the relationship ended. It ended in a very similar fashion of, hey, we don't want to be there anymore. And that's it. It wasn't necessarily another long discussion. The Nets realized that it was untenable. There was no way that they were going to bounce back, and it was irreparable. Kyrie, once he realized he wasn't getting the 4 years, $198 million, he was done. That was it. He didn't want to play there anymore. And then once Kyrie forced that trade, KD and his people said, hey, this is what KD wants. He wants out, and he'd like to go to Phoenix. And the Nets did right by him by trading him to the team that he wanted to go to.
Should have taken him down to Jonas Schimmel's and got him a couple of cherry cheese knishes. That would have convinced him that Brooklyn was the place to be, as opposed to these other destinations, Dallas and Phoenix. All right, I wanted to get your opinion on this. We were talking about it a little bit earlier in the show. Ian Eagle with us here on the program. All right, so it turns out that Joe Biden had an ulterior motive in making that trip to Kyiv, and he was trying to also put a stop to the threat that Vladimir Putin had issued during the All-Star game that he was going to nuke Salt Lake City if somebody didn't start to play some defense in this game. Now, Malone, the coach, called it the worst game that he's ever seen. I mean, that's saying a lot because he didn't see any of my 50 and over games at the David Posnack Jewish Center. Worst game of basketball ever played. And we just had Ronnie Rothstein on, who's been in the league like for 60 years, and he said same thing, worst thing he's ever seen. So what did you make of that? I mean, what is the future of the All-Star game, or will it be impacted at all by the fact that, they didn't even use the Red Sea defense, which we've seen employed by Tony Sperano in football and in that one playoff series that the Heat lost to the Dallas Mavericks. So when they let J.J. Barea, who was like 4 feet tall, go right down the middle, like possession after possession, what should be, or if anything, I mean, what is your thought about that, the way the All-Star game was conducted? Because the celebrity game had better defense in it.
Honestly.
Let me first say that I've done sports radio in some form for 30 plus years. I've never, ever heard the trifecta of Ron Rothstein, Tony Sperano, and J.J. Barea in the same sentence.
Jonas Schimmel's too.
What about Putin?
Never been done.
Putin. We threw Putin in there.
He gave you a dictator.
Well, I mean, I knew you were getting Putin in there. We had to get a dictator. That goes without saying.
If he nuked Salt Lake City, though, would anybody care? They just would have said, no, certainly not Barkley.
Well, the Mormon community might be.
Yeah,
I think you make a fair point.
Reason to be upset.
Yeah, I think this does happen every few years where you get a stinker of an all-star game, and then we start thinking, well, that's it. It's over. And normally the league rallies in some form. They feel the public pressure, and it really comes down to the players. It's that simple. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Doesn't matter if Adam Silver has an edict prior to it. It doesn't matter where the venue is. It matters what the players want to do that particular day. And the power rests with them. They could make it a good game. They could make it fun, even if it's not high-level defense, as we know is never going to happen in the All-Star game. There is an effort part of it that stands out and is obvious and blatant. And then the fourth quarter. That was the one thing, even in years where the game wasn't great, but they would turn it up enough in the fourth quarter where it was competitive and fun and shot making and athleticism. And people walked away saying, you know what, that was entertaining and that was enjoyable. This year, it was bad. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no spin. It was bad. And I guarantee you the league knows it was bad. And they are well aware of what's being said and what the feelings are around the sports world. So in the past, when this has happened, guys, they've bounced back. And the following year, it's been good. And the players' leadership roles recognize, hey, we got to do something about this. This year, I don't know. I don't know if these guys were just, completely spent and the Post Malone concert put it over the top. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just know that game did nothing for the viewer and for the fan, and that's a problem. If you lose the general NBA fan and this event doesn't resonate in some way, eventually it will be deemed irrelevant, and that's what you're trying to avoid.
Well, and it's something talking about competitive issues. The other big issue playing the NBA, and Adam Silver has talked about this openly, is this game maintenance stuff that the Spurs sort of started. And again, people understood it was three older dudes that knew they were kicking it for finals. So it made sense to play 65 to 70 games. Fine. When you have younger guys that are perfectly healthy playing 60 to 65 games, it's a different thing. And you do work for one of the networks that's doling out tons of money to televise games. And I get it. There's only so much you can do. There's more money into these players so that you want to keep them healthy, but you also want fun games on your Tuesday night and your Thursday night when Ian Eagle's on the call with SVG. And that's what you want when you're not with Reggie Miller. Ian Eagle's with Reggie Miller. Like, we want LeBron. We don't want D'Angelo Russell and the crew. Like, what can they do anything? And I get it. As long as the money's coming in, they don't have to. But how long will the money keep coming in? Ratings are dipping dramatically, and there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, the part of the equation that is probably most troubling, because normally you have someone to blame in these situations. But what's taken place, every team over the last 3 to 5 years has put in a performance team in their coaching staff. And these guys, you don't know their names. You never see them. Their bios are not easily accessible. They are people behind the scenes that are dealing with science and data and monitoring every move that a player makes. And they're making determinations that affect whether or not a player will be available for a certain game. And it's based on their findings. It's not based necessarily on the coach or the GM. What we're accustomed to in sports is, hey, coach has final say, or the GM will make the call on this. I'm telling you that we are in a new place in sports where these decisions are being made behind the scenes, and nobody can step forward and explain exactly why, because the science is new. The sports science part of it, which is becoming a much bigger part of the equation, it's still very much a novel idea, and there aren't enough results to determine whether or not it's the right way to go. We're just trusting that, no, if you sit out X number of games, you're going to be fresher and ready for the postseason run. It worked with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto.
Yeah.
And everybody thought, well, that's going to be the new model. Let's just do that. And it's not a proven commodity right now. I think there are some athletes that will tell you they're better when they're playing, not when they're sitting out for 4 days and having inactivity or just going through the motions at practice and not actually letting it rip during a game. So this is an issue. It's a problem. Adam Silver knows it. And the biggest problem, as we know, guys, you spend X number of dollars 3 months ahead of time because you know so-and-so, which I pick your player, is coming to your local arena.
People do it.
And then you get there that night and you're told, oh, yeah, by the way, he's not playing.
Yeah. We always talk about the crippled child that got the deal on a Make-A-Wish thing, and he's going to go down drive. His dad's going to drive him 100 miles, from Orlando or whatever, 200 miles to see LeBron, and then at the last second, it turns out he's not playing that night, and it's bitterly disappointing. I wanted to touch on the Super Bowl. We have Ian Eagle with us, and it's always a pleasure. And of course, I thought it was a wildly entertaining season all the way around. I really enjoyed this particular NFL season. A lot of exciting games, a lot of interesting things, a lot of great storylines. And then I thought the Super Bowl was terrific. Now you have to take into account that it's going to be elongated, so to speak, by the halftime show and all the different interruptions. I don't know. Did they plug in like 10 extra commercials? And did you understand any of them, Ian Eagle? I don't know. I love, that they've gotten so far out there, in the avant-garde art of making these commercials that you have no idea what was being advertised. The only one I understood was the Jesus one. That was like it took some post-commercial deduction to figure out. Oh yeah, that was for God. That commercial there. He's got $7 million to spend for 30 seconds. So. But I thought the game was great. What did you make of it? Just your overall impression of the way the Super Bowl turned out with Kansas City winning. I happened to be in Atlantic City, and they had actually brought in body bags for the Eagles fans that were there in the sports book. They were just zipping them up into plastic. I mean, because they thought they had this game in a bag, and it looked that way. And we were saying, I mean, it's almost as if they had superimposed a chalk outline of Mahomes. Like it was Michael Irvin in Philadelphia when he played with Dallas. When he got injured, the place erupted with joy and euphoria.
hurt.
And I had the Chiefs, so I was, kind of quiet, curled up in a fetal position in the corner. But what did you think? I mean, the game turned out to be a terrific ball game.
You just happened to be in Atlantic City.
That's pretty much true. Yeah, I didn't even realize I was going out on Super Bowl Sunday until we caught the flight.
Stumble upon the boardwalk of Atlantic City.
Tumbled into town there, got my tambourine out, and started playing the accordion on the boardwalk. It was great. A little cool outside, but that added to the sympathy.
Yeah, Charles and I actually called the game. We did the game on the world feed, so we were.
Great.
Oh, nice.
I enjoy that. No pressure. You don't have to put any makeup on. You don't have to do your hair. It's just great because you never appear.
No, yeah. I mean, I still did it because I have a lot of fans in the Philippines that expect a high level of performance.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a blast. The broadcast itself was a blast. Obviously, great being with Charles. So the two of us got that one extra game at the end of the year. And I thought the game was terrific. Truly, it's one of those games going in that I thought was evenly matched. I gave Kansas City a little bit of an edge based on Mahomes, based on Reed, but I thought Philly would hang. Obviously, Hurts was fantastic.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni in that kind of spot, something that he's going to look back on. It's an opportunity that doesn't necessarily come by all that often. The Eagles are still set up to be a team that should be a factor here, but Kansas City is a juggernaut. The fact that they did it in a different way, that when they won the first Super Bowl with Mahomes and company, it was all about speed. It was all about explosive plays. And this team this year without Tyreek Hill, they just found ways to win. And a lot of that has to do with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, that combination, how they adjusted when necessary. Their defense did just enough. As we know, they didn't necessarily stand out, but they did just enough. And to me, it's going to go down as a classic. It was everything I hoped it would be in person, other than the field. The field was a dismal mess.
What happened to Toma? Was he setting up for the Winter Classic in the NHL? Or was that what he?
I don't know.
He just got his his messages crossed there, and he thought he was setting up at like Fenway for a hockey game.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the memo up in the world.
Have you called NHL? Because it was kind of like that, I guess, for you and Charles. It almost looked like we're calling Edmonton against Calgary.
There was a lot of slipping. It was a legitimate problem. You could sense early, and then as the game wore on, it became a big issue.
All right. One last thing, and you're very generous with your time. We always appreciate it. But I did have to dive into a little professional wrestling here because this came up. And the question is for Ian Eagle, and I don't know if you're as familiar with his work inside the ring as outside, but more underrated. Which was he more underrated for, as a wrestler or a commentator? Gorilla Monsoon.
Oh no!
Brilliant TV commentator. But I mean, a great wrestler. Yeah.
I didn't know him as a wrestler. I don't want to give away my age.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've given away mine.
Yeah, you're a young man.
I'd like to give mine to you, Ian.
Trade. You want 54 back?
I'd take 54 in a heartbeat, my friend. Man, that's a kid at this point.
I remember
actually, Monsoon wrestled collegiately at Ithaca College. Believe it or not.
Oh wow!
Yeah. He took those same skills. Yeah. But then later, he didn't speak English anymore when he became the Manchurian Man Mountain. And then somehow became one of the most brilliant color analysts in any sport. I mean, up there with McEnroe, Charles Davis, any of the greats.
Yeah. I wonder, was he at Ithaca the same time as Gavin McLeod from the Love Boat?
It's possible.
Look that up.
I'll look it up for you, my friend.
Lubie, look that up. You gotta find that out. If those two cross paths, think about a taste of Americana.
Yeah.
Brewing in Ithaca, New York.
Yeah.
Sleepy Ithaca, New York, producing Captain Steubing and Gorilla Monsoon.
And there are, some frat house down in Utica Club, because they just taken a tour of the brewery and came back blasted drunk out of their mind, which is an unfortunate tendency of, from being in Syracuse. Were you drinking Genesee Cream Ale just because Rod Serling endorsed it, or was that like already passé?
No. We did drink Genesee. We drank Old Vienna. I'm thinking of the cheap beers that we were getting at Syracuse.
Yeah.
That was very much part of the deal in the mid to late 80s. That was still a popular go-to.
Amen.
All right. Well, we stayed away from mentioning that Nance is hearing footsteps because he's not just hearing them from you anymore. It's Noah. Noah is hot on his trail also.
You may have crossed paths. I have to tell you that because Monsoon started his wrestling career in 57, so you would think he was at Ithaca before. And McLeod started acting, I think, in 57, 58. So you would have to.
That's a great call by you. Wow.
Good job, Ian.
I think we unearthed something.
I've done a million interviews, and I've never had a guy realize that Gavin McLeod and Gorilla Monsoon had something in common.
Yeah. Now I question, how was Monsoon never on the Love Boat? Like, that should have been an automatic. Should
He would have sunk it. Yeah.
Some kind of love triangle with Audra Lindley and Andy Bates.
Imagine Monsoon at the buffet. That could have been prohibitive for the other guests who were on the boat.
Out the Lido deck, it would have been over.
We love you, Ian, man. Thanks. Appreciate it as always.
Love you back. Great.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon, we hope.
Have a good
Say hello to Charles for us,
Thanks
too.
for going overtime with me.
All right. Oh, it was a pleasure. It really was. Very few people we would do that for, right?
That's literally the truth. Yeah, we don't do
We've
that.
done it with Feinstein. We've done it with a couple of others, but
it's our
Ian
favorites.
Eagle, always brilliant. Yeah. It's amazing he could be as good and professional at what he does, and then be this kind of loose.
He doesn't do it anywhere else. I've heard him on
sort of lucid guy.
I've heard him do a lot of radio. He says it, and he is Ian. Like
they ask him a lot of straight questions. They don't realize that you can have some fun with it.
He never does that with anyone else, so I appreciate that he's willing to do it with us.
Yeah, that's great. All right, we have the lunchbox coming up from Gulfstream Park.
Yes,
and that's going to be 12 o'clock with Mike Mayo. He's all ready for that, too. I'm not sure what restaurant he went with. The clue seemed like he was saying it as if it was obvious, and it went over my head. Not that the clue was bad, but I guess I wasn't thinking, because he said it was one of the ones that we had suggested. So there were only a couple there. So that'll be part of the competition there that we have on the show, which is always great. And then Joe, he does a dynamite job, man. I mean, we have been eating high on the hog. I saw some of those rear view shots that the lovely young lady was taking at the Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market yesterday. And I was like, you know what? Might want to hold back a little bit on some of these meals. At 4 Mile Walk, you don't want to negate it by eating too much. So,
well, I'm not going to say no.
I'm dedicated, yeah. But it's hard to resist. I mean, the great food that they put out there at Gulfstream Park. And we've been, 4 different places this week? It's been fantastic, yeah.
Yes, very busy week and very good eating. Looking forward to it.
Wow, four of the greatest lunches I've had, like in in succession. With the exception of that one day when Mayo was gargling with. What was he gargling with? Like mayonnaise to fight off this cold? Something.
Everything known to man. Prevagen.
What is it, like National Blue Cheese Day? I think Jim Sarney was suggesting that Mayo, guzzle some blue cheese on the show.
Please God, no.
It's something like that, though. It's something equally disgusting. That like if you just like drank a whole van of it.
I'm okay. Let's not tell him because he will. He'll order it from the freaking concession, and then I'll have to watch him drinking blue cheese. I'm okay.
I give him credit. You know what? He goes out there and he tries the stuff, man. He's got a little Bourdain in him. He'll try almost anything. And he goes out of his way to do it. Like, like he went to that cake machine. That was good.
That's my problem is he embraces it. Bourdain was doing I guess, a service or something. It feels like Mayo relishes it. That's my sort of disturbance from him. He loves it.
He loves it, man. No, he was chowing down on those stone crabs. I didn't, I don't know if he realized how many he had actually.
I think he had like 6, and you had like
ingested. I think I had 3 of them. Yeah.
You had 3,
and I thought I was overdoing it. I really did. I thought a couple of stone crabs probably would do it. A couple of those shrimp were great.
The shrimp they gave us a lot.
And that fish dip that they gave us to take home, I recommend it, man. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. The guy Doug is great, man. 84 years old, still doing his thing, Lubie. Still doing his thing. We were talking about that.
He works regularly. Gene, Linda, the whole group there. They do a really good job. Looking forward to going out there once a month.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that Mayo shades his daughter and blows off Cocaine Bear, which looks ridiculous to me. Just the whole concept is like it seems incredibly stupid. No,
it was a real movie and it happened, and people love it and people hate it. So
I don't know that I would hate it. I mean, just from what I've seen of the trailers there and the advertisements for it, I wouldn't be inclined to go. Once in a while, a movie I see like some ads for, and you go, "Wow, I really have to go see that film." Very, very rarely anymore, but certain movies you look and you see, you go, "Wow, I'd love to see that," and I don't want to wait. I haven't been to a theater though. You know what? I can't say that. I haven't been to a theater since long before COVID.
Yeah, I've been twice since COVID.
Yeah, and I haven't been back, and I don't have any desire to have somebody like coughing in my face there while I'm in a movie theater. And now they got this new thing where it's like preferred seating.
Yep.
Have you been victimized by that yet?
I haven't done it yet.
I say victimized because that's what it is. It's just robbery.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You walk into a movie theater, you sit down where there's an available seat that you feel comfortable in. Right?
The seats are staggered. You don't need, as long as you're not in the front row, it's whatever. It's a movie.
Yeah, I don't mind where I am. I mean, you go there for the, sort of theatrical.
Yeah, it's louder. It's in your face. That's all you.
Comes at you. You feel it a little bit. It gets in your pulse. Yeah, that's the whole trip, right? It's like going out to the, racetrack live, like we'll be later on.
Everyone's screaming.
Yeah, but you feel the pulse there. And live boxing is the same thing. A crowd goes nuts. They got the local favorite. He's finally on the verge of a knockout. Everybody's standing, hooting and hollering. You got guys playing, conga drums and tambourines and blowing horns. And all kinds of stuff happening in the crowd. It's really a carnival, man. It's going to be great tonight in Hialeah Park. All right, we'll see you guys there, and we'll see you out at Gulfstream Park 12 o'clock for the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. Thanks to everybody that appeared on the program today. It was a lot of fun. And we'll see you later on as we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 9:37.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.